friends, and welcome to the 29th episode of All New Snap Judgments. As always, I'm Roy Rogers, here for my final episode that I will be appearing on in the year of our Lord 2023. And joining me today is my friend and yours, Aaron Glazer. Aaron, my friend, how are you doing on this eve? Oh, you're on break, I think, now, but I am on the eve of my break. So we start break tomorrow at 2:30. So how about you then?
I'm about to start singing One Day More at you, so be careful.
Hey, I'm in the same situation, man. I'm in the same situation. So happy holidays to our loyal listeners. This episode will be going up over the Christmas weekend. So we want to make sure our loyal listeners and loyal viewers have a wonderful holiday. Well, Glazer, who is here to help us ring in the jingle bells this afternoon?
Our first guest is a gentleman who rocks a turtleneck better than Cozy Snap. He is the king of all things rambunctious. It's Lil Robitussin. How you doing?
Good, brother. Merry Christmas to you and everybody listening. Happy to be here. I do like a little shenanigans, yeah. I thought you were going to mention Howard, but you mentioned my turtleneck. I took the tags off of it that day when I wore it for the gala. And it's now on, I don't know where it is. So it's actually MIA. I need a new turtleneck after all.
So I wrote a article on Marvel Snap Zone that includes Howard the Duck. It's literally an editing process as we're recording. You're tagged. Your Twitch is tagged in the article as like, and we'll finally get him.
I was going to say, I don't want to block people on Twitter, but it's not happening today. All right.
All right. Robo, how can our people find you? What's your Twitch?
I am at Lil_Robitussin1 on Twitch and on Twitter. YouTube Shorts coming soon.
All right. We are also joined by the Golden Goose, the man who every single night on stream rocks Robo at Conquest, usually by getting amazingly perfect draws. I'm not going to pretend that doesn't happen constantly, or watching Robo make incredibly drunk, silly plays. It is Prashaun. How you doing?
How's it going, everyone? It is Prashaun here. You can find me everywhere at Prashaun, pretty much. YouTube, Twitch. Twitter's a little bit different. I got hacked a long time ago, so it's Prashaun _ Snap. And I'm glad to be here. I feel like it's going to be a Charlie Brown Christmas. We're going to put that football out for Tussin and just like pull it from underneath him, right? Is that
I guess I have to come for a roast. Or is this, I'm talking about geese. Is this a nice Christmas goose roasting over the open fire here?
Pretty much.
Wow.
I'm waiting for the apple to be in my mouth any moment.
Nice. I may as well not have any eyebrows. Good thing the camera's off.
He did put a shirt on for us, though, just so everyone knows.
Yeah, and it's a little tight, too. I look pretty jacked.
It's a Christmas miracle, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so let's remind our loyal listeners and viewers where they can find us before we jump into this jam-packed winter season episode. So first and foremost, you can find us on X, formerly known as Twitter, as the emails I receive from the app say each and every day. We are on X at SnapJudgeCast. We are also extremely, unbelievably grateful and proud to be the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone, which means Glazer is active on their Discord. You can go into their Discord each and every day using the link in the episode description below, whether that is on your friendly local podcatcher or YouTube, to join the Discord, which is the best large Discord in all of Marvel Snap. And we would be grateful if you're in there bothering Glazer, asking him all the most annoying questions. For example, why he refuses to call X by its proper name, Twitter, which I am reminding him in every time I comment on one of his episodes, on our YouTube, which we'll get to in a second. But before we talk about the YouTube, you need to be reminded of where to email us, which is snapjudgmentspodcast@gmail.com. We'll do our best to get back to you in a timely manner, even if it's hard to find new emails through all the kick spam that Glazer gave us. Aaron, do you want to say something?
I do, but not yet. Go.
Okay. We also have a YouTube, which Glazer has made 9 episodes for this week. each and every day, including on exciting Marvel Snap weeks like this one. You can find more than just one episode a day from Aaron, and that can be found at Snap Judgments Pod. So, Glazer, besides those 9 episodes that are coming this week, what would our loyal listeners get if they became our loyal viewers of the YouTube?
All right, so we do 3 decks a day. We cover bundles. We cover like everything. It's the most comprehensive YouTube on the game that exists, as far as I can tell. The other thing to note is next week is giveaway week. Every month we give away 15 season passes. We give away 5 on our YouTube. We give away 5 on Twitter, and we usually give away 5 on Marvel Snap Zone proper. But instead, we're going to be giving them away on this very podcast. So make sure you sub and ring that bell, because we are giving away 5 on this very podcast. We need to figure out if Apple is going to kick us off if we do that by having you leave reviews and 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. If they will not, that'll be how to do it. If not, it'll be right here.
Yes. But whether or not you need bribery or not, please, Spotify, Apple, whatever your friendly neighborhood podcatcher is, go and review. Give us 5 stars. Tell us why you... Well, in fact, a great comment would be reminding Aaron that Twitter is now called X. There's lots of other amazing things you can leave as a comment complimenting Glazer's sonorous voice. Like, there's all these amazing things about the show that you love. Please share them there. Or again, if you don't want to have anything positive to say, you could just remind Glazer that Twitter is now called X. Either way, we love the engagement. Please leave 5-star reviews.
And just in case you'd like to hack into our Twitter, Roy has changed the password to Elon Musk is daddy.
All right. So we have a packed episode because this was for the week before Christmas, and there's new cards, there's big OTA changes, but we've got to start where we always start, which is the new card this week, which is Havok. All right. Havok is a 2-cost 0 strength. That sounds terrible. But what would you get for that 3K tokens for this 2-cost 0 strength character? Well, he has the text, after each turn, lose 1 max energy, and this gains +4 power. All right, Prashaun, what do you think of the Lesser Summers?
He is the Lesser Summers, right? So I think he's mid. He's a midi card. I know a lot of people are playing the Viper trick, but I've been playing him turn 5 with Wave, and then I'll play either Doom or Alioth for the wins. But I lost tons of snap points trying to test this card because I personally like to test cards on ladder than on conquest. That way you can actually get a feel if the card's good or not. But I definitely think it's a mid-tier card. There might be more cards in the future that might sync up with it, but as far as something to be meta-changing like Blob was, I don't think so.
Robo?
I will say, I will have to admit with the Goose on this one, it is a mid card, but it's a very fun card. The Viper thing is probably dead with her nerf, unfortunately. I was putting Electro in too, and if I got this or Electro, I'd throw it at the opponent. It was quite fun for me, not for them. But yeah, 3K, I kind of have been recommending it. It also is, in my opinion, an endgame card. I've noticed with all these decks, you kind of need like a lot of series 4 and 5 cards to fill it up. So if you're like midway through series 3, you probably don't want to buy it, unfortunately. It is very fun. You probably will have fun, but I think in general, like Prashaun said, it's mid and will get better with time, but gets absolutely destroyed by Shadow King. So like it's got a lot of counters as well. It's it's no Thanos right now.
Yeah, I liked it before they killed Viper, and I really and like I get that there wasn't an OTA recently, but I really wish they had changed Viper before I told people to buy this card. I think like there were versions of this with Viper that were around tier 1, at least tier 2 decks, and I think without Viper, it's like a card that's going to stop seeing play after this week, and that makes me sad. Well, it doesn't make me sad because Havok's a terrible character, but it makes me sad because it could otherwise be cool.
Yeah, I think for me, this is a card that I have been opening caches for. I both wanted Havok, and I didn't own any of the other cards this week. So this was a me that I was opening the faucet. I didn't have Nico or Legion, so I was excited to open caches. I'm pretty happy with Havok as a card because I think it's super cool and super interesting. I think it asks new things of Marvel Snap and decks to be built around. I thought the Viper decks were cool, particularly because they were really easy to concede against. So they're definitely a kind of like, I think decks like that kind of played in one of the strengths of Marvel Snap, which is games can be disposable. Now that Viper's been nerfed, there's not necessarily a natural home for Havok, but I'd be interested to see like, I think this card, is a really interesting puzzle for top end deck builders like Lammy and Cambest and Dara and many other people to sort of constantly experiment with, because as new cards are printed or new interactions are discovered, like Havok can do really interesting things. And so I'm interested to see where this card goes.
It goes into your binder. Digital.
My digital binder.
For me personally, I will say that I will be using it a lot. But I also don't play competitively. I just like to have fun and for the lulz. So, as to the competitive side, you probably don't want to throw your 3K at this right now. If you like to meme and Howard the Duck is maybe your favorite card, it might be worth.
Wait, Howard the Duck is your favorite card?
We can get into that.
Okay.
We can definitely get into that. But before we do that, we want to make sure we get into you gentlemen's thoughts on Blob and Shaw. As always, with all of our guests, we ask what they think so far of the season's cards. I started with Prashaun before, so Robitussin, what do you think of the two big boys that have been released so far this month?
Well, Bloobity, as I call them, shout out to Good Burger if they're listening. I think he is a little OP, and it is because of Thanos, but I also feel like it's just another huge power thing. Like, I don't like the Hulk with high Evo. I don't like Infinite's all right because it does have, a condition. Obviously you can cheat him out, but I feel like it needs to be changed, and I don't know, besides like making it a 6-3, what you make it to. And the effect, like, I don't even know what you would do to the effect to nerf it. So I feel it's just another big thing that we're gonna have to deal with. And I like the card. I think it's fun. I just feel like it's been up until this week, it was Blob versus Blob, which got pretty boring. Yes, it is easily countered, but a meta where you have to jam Shang-Chi in anything for the lulz. Or not for the lulz, for the just to win at all is kind of troubling. Shaw, I'm a big Surfer player. Shout out to Z3. I love Shaw with Surfer. That's really where I've been putting him. He consistently gets huge. I think he's a great season pass card. I really think that he might be a problem depending on the way the game goes, but I think right now he's in a good spot. For the price of the season pass, very, very good card, and I like his effects. So that's my thoughts.
Prashaun?
All right. Blob is pretty good. I think with Marvel Snap, you need your sixes to be like big bads, right? But unfortunately with Blob's like a B, D, C tier character in the comics, and he's like such a badass card compared to like, I don't know, like Thanos and all those guys. Like it seems like he's more powerful than what he should be, which is totally fine. But I don't think you can really nerf him unless you make him like a 6-1 or 6-0 just to take down that power. But the fact that you could just put like Infinite, Giganto, and like Destroyer in your deck, and then he's automatically huge, and you're just seeing whose blob is the biggest. And then the crazy thing too is I won a lot of
measuring contest.
Pretty much, it's whose blob is bigger. But the crazy thing is with blob is like you could play Arnim Zola to get away from that Shadow King or Shang-Chi, you could play Taskmaster if you have priority to just copy it somewhere else. Because I've been playing Blob Ramp compared to Blob Thanos because I don't like the clutter on the board per se. So like, there's so many routes you could go with it. You could go Wave, Blob, Taskmaster, and then you could Artem Zola that Taskmaster and just win games and demolish the opponents. So Blob, I think, is like a tier 1 deck, tier 1 card, and Shaw was close to tier 1, and then I think especially now with the nerf of Werewolf by Night, it might have knocked it down a little bit. But I made Infinite with Lil Robitussin's deck, and pretty much in a day. But I think I made one change. I took out Howard and I put in Forge for more power. I did that. So I think Shaw is overall good. It brought back Surfer for a few weeks, or Surfer's still around a little bit, but both solid cards, and I'm sort of looking forward to Celine. I can't wait till she comes out.
I think we should add another interaction. That would be a great conversation. The Rogue interaction with Blob.
Oh, I just learned how that worked.
Yeah,
Wait,
well, strap yourself in for this one. So when you rogue Blob when he's on the field, you get his on reveal and ongoing. Nice. I think it's because they're combined. It's the same with Electro. So I actually think it's intended, right?
It's intended. It's 100% intended. It steals their whole. It doesn't steal their ongoing. It steals their text box.
Or their text. Sorry,
it steals the text of something with an ongoing ability.
Interesting.
Yeah, Rogue's text is steal the text from another minion.
But
yeah, so
can you Shang-Chi it after?
Yeah, it doesn't lose. So the opponent's doesn't lose power. You get the on reveal, so you empty your deck.
You eat your deck.
Hit. Yeah,
Right,
you eat your deck.
But can you still Shang? Well, you can always.
Yeah, it doesn't lose power. So you still
if you have
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi in your hand, you can.
Or you can move them, right? You can move them now too, right?
Yeah, which is,
Oh yeah.
So you can rogue and then Juggernaut him on the last turn of the game if
Or
he's
play Arrow. Yeah, you can play Arrow.
Well, that's 8 energy, so good luck.
You can rogue Juggernaut, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
True.
You could Sarah then rogue no, you can't. Yeah, you can. Sarah then rogue Arrow. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
It's actually reasonably strong, right?
I was gonna say the ongoing take needs to be on the card with another thing as well, right? Because the ongoing is the only reason that she activates, obviously.
Yes, but the ongoing exists because Sauron exists, right? Like, that's their design decision. They were like, with this weird sick of Shuri Red Skull, like, let's build a new all the power deck so that's not the same all the power deck for the last 6 months, right?
Yes, I have one other question. Do you think that is viable in the competitive space, that interaction? I don't think so.
No.
If you're playing Rogue,
deck
your
that
deck,
you're like,
if you're playing Rogue, your deck doesn't have enough power for it to usually beat Blob.
Yeah.
And you don't want a Shadow King after, because then Shadow King is just kicking your Rogue back down, right?
Yeah, and I think you're playing Rogue a little bit too late in the game after that Blob.
Mhm.
I don't like Blob's a late game card. If you're playing Rogue on someone's Blob, then it might be a little bit too late for you.
Yeah, when I first heard about it, I was like, oh my god, memes of the year. And I'm like, no, this is kind of shit.
Yep.
It's funny, though, is what it is.
So,
I think... go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. No, please, go ahead, Roy.
Because I have a transition point, I think, for what we're going to be talking to. I think, for me, Blob, in particular, a lot of card games, talk about what would happen if you printed an infinite strength or power or, toughness card. And Blob is basically infinite power, in the decks that are built for him. I watched a lot of Dare this morning, and he was just making giant blobs with Thanos, and every time I've played against him, they've been giant. So he's effectively infinite, and I actually think he's not that bad of a card to exist. And infinite power isn't that dangerous in Marvel Snap. Actually, I think because there is a lot of interaction for him. I think the problem is Professor X. I think the only place that Blob is obnoxious is when there's lockdown. When all 3 lanes are not into play, and it just becomes, I lock down this lane and then I have an I win button unless you have Shang-Chi or Shadow King or whatever. I think Blob's a really interesting card when all 3 lanes are in play, and it creates a lot of really interesting tension. I've enjoyed playing those Blob games or watching people play those Blob games, but I'm really not interested. Every time that it's Professor X Okay, so now only 2 lanes. All right, which one is the blob going to be in? Am I going to draw my Shang-Chi? Oh, I didn't. Okay. Game over. Like, I think with Professor X being nerfed, which we'll get to in a little bit, I think that blob becomes a more interesting and I think fun card than it was this past week.
I'm going to save that for the Professor X point because I think Ravonna fundamentally changes that math. But I think as importantly for... Well, let's just ditch Blob, because we're going to have to talk about Blob again when we talk about Professor X, and Blob is part of one of my hot takes. So, Shaw's bad. It's my take. I think Shaw's, like, the more I play with Shaw, the more I'm just like, this isn't, like, good. Like, if they had left Luke Cage alone, they couldn't, because Blob was coming, right? But, like, if they had left Luke Cage alone, Shaw might be good. But Shaw's, like, unless you're playing him really late, just a sitting duck target.
I Wong Mystique. That's what I play. So Wong Mystique Surfer. You know. But yeah,
and then they Shadow King, and you're just like Sedge, right? Like,
not me.
I'm like, oh man, 700 powers. No, wait, no, it's 4.
But I typically don't play Shaw too early though. It's not like I'm a turn 3 Shaw player.
Yeah, but when are you playing it? Turn 6? Like that's awfully late. And if it's out anytime before, then like I
typically
like my last turn play is
like the deck Tussin had. Like it had magic in it, so I would play magic, and then I would play Wong, and then I would play like Mystique maybe, and then a Shaw, and then I would play like Surfer, and then I would play like Odin.
Okay, so, that Odin probably does it. That changes it because I'm not playing Odin any of my Surfer decks.
So that's what I would do at the end. I would just like play my Surfer early, and they're like, "Oh, he played a Surfer. He can't get a Shaw and like even bigger." And then I would play that Odin on turn 7, and then everything got that plus power, and then that was my surprise play. That's how I got to Infinite so quick.
And with Howard in there, it just plays itself basically, right? You know what's coming.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think Howard helped because what Lad's in that
wasn't
deck
in your version, you liar.
I know you just contradicted you.
No, for sure. I got Infinite with the Howard deck. I didn't change it after.
Okay. So you actually needed to win.
Well, Obi told me to take out Howard on stream, so I was like, but this isn't Tussin's deck anymore, so I took out...
So you obeyed Obi? Obi, our guest last week, if anyone wants to hear Obi. Was Obi last week or was last week?
I succumbed to the peer pressure, but you did have Iron Lad in the deck too, so that helped out a lot as well.
Yeah, he's his BFF. It's Howard, Iron Lad. Yeah, you know, where the heck do you put Howard without Lad? We can get into that during the Howard hour. But
all right, so Shaw's still bad. Sorry. So like, okay, maybe that's playable on ladder, which is not super hard. But in Conquest, that works exactly once.
Right.
Like, and then it's just like, oh, well, you got me for 4. All right, you're never winning again. Have a great day.
All right. I think it's worth moving on here to the OTA. So we got a huge and impactful OTA. Well, today when we're recording it, this week in general. So there's some huge changes to some highly played cards. So Professor X nerfed to just 1 power. Werewolf got his cost increased, but his power increased. Black Widow got her cost increased, but her power increased as well. Maximus got his cost decreased, but his power decreased as well. Gladiator got a buff. Strength went up to 8. Viper, which is alongside Professor X, I think the biggest change here, becomes a 3-cost card. I guess Black Widow too.
Werewolf.
Well, Werewolf.
The best card in the game is now like the 17th best card in the game.
What about Miss Robo? Sorry, we'll get to her.
And then Viper. She becomes 3 costs now, but her strength got buffed. Rowan just got his strength buffed. Out there accusing people of him being weak. And we got Martyr is now a 5 strength card, which is crazy.
Is she beautiful?
And Punisher in their quest to try to make this card playable outside of Series 2, we have Punisher going up to 3 power. All right, I will throw it to you, Prashaun. Which one of these? This could just be a free-flowing discussion. We don't have to take them one at a time. What stands out to you about this? Yeah.
So when I look at this OTA, it looks like they're trying to attack those Annihilus decks, where they're trying to hit you with the Viper, like the Hood or Viper or Black Widow. Like it seems like they're trying to attack those decks, and then they're trying to buff the Ronin decks that got like a little bit popular, but sort of died down once like the new season started. So that's what I see what they're going at, and then they're trying to please everyone with Professor X by decreasing his power. But I feel like Professor X is better with Ravona, and then also you could play Professor X in negative now. So it's like what like you created another monster by attacking like one issue, and then Punisher is Punisher. Like no one's gonna play it, and then Martyr. It's still a card I'm not gonna play per se. Like the 1/5 isn't the 1/5 is enticing, but I don't think it's enticing enough, especially when it's 5 costs now. It's higher stakes on her to move and lose you a game.
So I want to address Professor X first, because I think so they hit the top 3 decks is what they hit. They hit the bounce / Loki decks. They hit the Thanos decks. Well, and they hit the Annihilus decks. So like all 3 of the top decks got hit real hard. But and I guess the top 4, but you consider bounce and Loki different things. But like Professor X is worse than Thanos because it's harder to pull off, right? But better in the like W style lockdown, because those decks can just run Ravona and they can also run Martyr. So you can Ravona to still Professor X on 4, and then you're just dropping it on like whatever powerful stuff you play on turn 3. Because you can now like just drop power on turn 3 and then Professor X on turn 4. Or if you play it on turn 5, you can play it with Martyr, and now it's a 6 power card.
Right, and then with those W decks, he's playing Mr. Fantastic and Miss Marvel, so the power is going to get there.
Yeah. So I think that those decks are really, really strong right now. I think the Thanos one is a little bit worse, which is what they were trying to do. I think it's a really clever nerf. I think 5-2 wouldn't have done the job that 5-1 does here, of making it really like strong in regular lockdown, but weakening it in Thanos. Tuss, any X thoughts?
Yeah. So that was my hot take. Basically what you just said. So we can slice that one off with Miss Marvel and all that stuff. I actually put some time into this. I'm gonna say Ronin. Like I don't want to just beat the dead horse with Professor X, but that is probably the biggest change. Ronin, I feel like, is going to be more prevalent in the meta, or at least I'm hoping so. Really cool deck. I like Master Mold. Shout out to him on the X-Men cartoon, but I really feel like Ronin needed something like this. It seems like it's going to be good. I hate Black Widow. Like I hate that card. I call her the Wids. So yeah, good riddance. Like seriously, like that card is so freaking annoying. And yeah, we can get into the other stuff, but yeah, Martyr with Professor X putting it underneath is going to be my jam. Spoiler alert. I really feel like they're going to be BFFs. Professor X, like you said, the whole Ravona and negative interactions are probably, this isn't even really a nerf in my opinion. I know that might be a hot take, but I feel like because of those other pieces, this might actually make it worse, or get lockdown out earlier, which is going to piss me off more because I can't play.
So with Ronin, that might be like more prevalent. I think Loki might make a resurgence as well, because you're filling someone's hand with cards, and Loki's just gonna take your cards again and beat you.
So I've referenced my student that I have playing Snap, and he has Loki. He was like, "What do I get?" And I was like, "Well, you get Loki." And like, because Loki is so easy to play, and he's like, "Everyone's playing Ronin today, so like, I'm destroying them. All of my cards are so cheap. My hand is empty. They're playing a 3 power card for 5, or a 5 power card for 5, and it's like, yeah, it's pretty good, right?" It's just like Ronin is so easy to counter,
right? Unless I don't know. Typically, I play Ronin on 5, and then on 6, I'm playing Mystique and Maximus, or Mystique and Master Mold. That final turn, and then I try to lock out, because typically it has like Storm in that deck. So I play Storm on 3, Miss Marvel on 4, and then I play my Ronin that way. Like typically, that's my play line.
My problem with Ronin is like, I mean, it's like fivefold. I think Ronin needed to be a 4, not a 5, for Ronin to be good. So what Ronin on 5 does is it's a giant Chang-Chi target. It's a giant ongoing hate target, and it gives me plays to counter. So, like, if you're going to play Mystique, right, enjoy yourself. That's 0 power that you're going to need a bunch of cards in hand. If you're playing Mystique and Master Mold or Mystique and Maximus, that's +2 cards in my hand. If that's 3 cards in my hand, you just got a you played a 3/6, right?
Right.
Like whatever, good for you, right? Like, it's just, I don't care. You wasted your last turn while I was doing powerful things. And if I had priority, I could have just killed your damn Ronin, and now your Mystique is 0.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, I don't think it's bad, right? I just don't see it getting much above, like, low tier 2.
I have a weird question. You guys built a deck recently without Shang or Shadow King? Or
Yes,
is that just,
all the time.
I just put it in. I just put it in everything now because I feel like I need it with all the crap.
So I play Shadow King just randomly in decks now because, like, I don't see a real reason not to. Just, he's a free roll it too, right? Like, it's just, even if I'm almost never going to play him as a 2-drop, there's very little reason not to. But I play without Shang a lot.
But with Shadow King being a 2, do you think they might change it back to a 3, just based off of how powerful that last play is with Shang-Chi and Shadow King?
I mean, they, like, obviously should. Are they going to? I don't know. But they, like, very obviously should.
Should they? Because I think they'd just rather print huge, more blob-like cards. Like, if they're going to keep printing cards like Blob, they have to keep the powerful interactive cards like that. Or they'll just, like, play this OTA game over and over again, making these, like, small tweaks rather than just, like, having faith in their card designs.
So, but that's what they do in this game, right? Like, that's what the weekly OTA changes are. They're, like, saying that, like, Blob is going to be meta until we say Blob's not meta.
I understand.
Well, what's that?
Well, we'll put a pin in this. So
Wait, there's one more
that's
card
6.
we have to talk about, though. Go ahead.
no, I
Okay.
meant the specific discussion about
okay.
this thing. What Viper?
Robo. Wait, Robo had something.
Yeah, go ahead.
I wanted
Robo.
to say, well, I forget the name of the card, but you won't be. It protects 1 and 6 costs.
Yep.
I feel
Kyra.
like
Yeah, Kyra.
that's going to be ridiculous. I hope they change it so it's just on a single lane. I think it was Brad.
They're not doing that.
Brad,
No.
did you ask?
No, they're not doing that. It's
Why?
Then it's worse armor. They're not making worse armor. It's not happening. I'll bet.
I thought they were
anything.
trying to get away from.
That's a lie.
They
That was them. That was them not saying, "Hey, this is broken with Blob Thanos." Like, they weren't, like, they changed Luke because they realized they were releasing Blob. They changed Elsa because they know Blob is crazy in Thanos. Like, you can believe their bullshit, but, like, it's bullshit.
What's that card's name? Sable? I forget.
No,
Wait.
Kyra.
Kyra.
Oh, Kyra.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Kyra's not, like,
Oh, the
they're
name.
not and Kyra costs 3. They said they don't want 2 cost cards doing that. And then they'll just release it, like, oh, we didn't say 3 cost, and, like, but it was all bullshit anyway. It's literally like Luke Cage cannot exist in his previous form if Blob exists in this form. Like, that is not a fair, like,
Yeah.
so that's why they made that change, and then they changed Elsa because, like, Elsa plus, like, the only place Elsa was still OP was Thanos, and they were about to release a super OP Thanos card, so they had to hit Elsa. Like, don't
Yeah.
take them at face value. They're full of shit.
Yeah. I'm just. That's what I was getting at. Is when that card comes out, I guess Shadow King stonks go up, right?
Oh yeah, all the way up. Like, like, they're already. I think we had it as a top 3 card in the game last week, and one of those top 3 got nerfed to hell, which is what I really want to talk about. So I think Shadow King is at worst the second best card in the game after Ms. Marvel. Maybe better than Ms. Marvel.
I assume
Howard being number
what's
3.
what's the card you wanted to get into, Glazer?
Werewolf. We have to talk about Werewolf.
okay,
I think
okay.
Werewolf is a totally different card now. Like, it goes in totally different decks. I don't know what Bounce does or if it exists. I watched Lambie trying to play it, and, like, Lambie was struggling, which is never a good sign. He just replaced his Mirage with Zabu, and it's like, I can still do this, and, like, you can't, because now you're just giving up Collector. Right? Like, you can try Loking on 5, which is still good, but now that's awkward. I think the Werewolf change sort of, like, smacks Loki in the face, and losing Beast on 4 means that, like, all your bounce high roll is gone, and bounce lost the Widow on 2, Beast on 3 play.
Yeah.
Like, I think that like werewolves change fundamentally alters the game. My working assumption, and I haven't built toward this yet because there hasn't been enough time, but I think that like Darkhawk good stuff became a leech deck. But if you don't want to play a leech deck and you want to play a good stuff deck, I think it's a werewolf deck now. And putting that together is going to be the new thing to do.
That's what I was thinking too. Maybe like good cards again with that, like Zabu, Darkhawk, Rockslide, Korg, that type of shell. That way you have those buffs or whatever for your Darkhawk, and then Werewolf is just icing.
5.
Yeah,
but you have to leech on 5. So like the problem is if you don't see Zabu, right? So I don't think it can be a Darkhawk deck anymore because if you don't, all right, ready? Let's curve out. If we don't see Zabu. So turn 1, Rock Slide. Turn 2, I don't know, nothing. There's nothing that deck wants to play on turn 2 right now. Turn 3, Korg. Turn 4, Werewolf. Turn 5, Leech. Now you're not activating Werewolf in the slightest until turn 6.
But isn't that their goal? Don't they just want them to proc like 1 or 2 times in the game now?
Right. But that's not what you want to do as the player, right? Like as the player, you want to be able to make him be more powerful. So like, I don't think that shell works for that reason. So like, I think that there has to be a different shell. It might be a Sarah shell, which I know seems wild. But like, if you can go Wolf on 4, even if you don't hit Zabu, and then Sarah on 5, you can play a bunch of little on reveals along. Like you can play 2 cost on reveals along with your 1 drops, and that might do it.
I'm even thinking like Black Bolt.
I could see Black Bolt stature stuff.
Yeah, that could come back too with Werewolf. We'll see if anyone comes up with it.
But there's got to be something different along those lines to do, because like just without America, hitting Zabu on 2 is significantly harder, and just like the playing him on 4 means that the decks you were playing him in have likely played out their stuff, and that turn 5 is just like dangerous until whatchamacall comes out. Then I take all this back until Black Swan comes out. Do you remember Black Swan? Do people know what Black Swan does?
I forget. It was the movie with Natalie Portman, right?
It was. I'm actually going to also look up Black Swan so I get this right. So talk about this while I look up
I'll talk
Black Swan.
about this. So this is my favorite change. I think this is exactly where Werewolf needs to be. I really like Werewolf in the like all 4s mid-range like good stuff deck. That sort of where when Darkhawk was dominant and what Rockslide was still a 4. I think I think that 4 cost is a really interesting cost spot, both because of like being played kind of like just past the middle of the game as the beginning of the late game, and with the existence of Zabu, I think 4s are like a really interesting design space of being powerful cards that can take over a game, but still cost enough that the fact that they cost enough is a drawback, and you need to do something like warping like Zabu, which you have to draw on time. Like there's a lot of really interesting things, and I think mid-range decks, I think a Werewolf, Darkhawk, Black Bolt deck that you are describing, Glazer and Prashaun, I think is exactly an interesting place for decks to go. I still don't think that they can really exist in a world with Blob. I think Blob does like, because what they do is fundamentally fair snap, and Blob is not fair snap in one lane, and without something that goes over the top, you need an effect like Leech, but you have to draw Leech, and then they took America, and you now need to draw Zabu and Leech and Leech to have play, right? Because while you have more redundancy on mid-range threats, like Werewolf in this place is a kind of like redundant mid-range threat that can be on the level with Darkhawk, but I think a really interesting place to be, but I do think it is an example of design space that is limited by Blob.
Ready for the most broken play in the history of the game? It makes Loki look like child's play. Black Swan 2/3. It's the season pass card. This has to be changed. It's the season pass card for February. 2/3 on reveal until the end of next turn. Your 1 cost cards cost 0.
Jeez. Oh yeah, that's ridiculous. I love Monkey though.
Yeah, I mean, him. Look, so you play Werewolf on 4, and then you play that, and Who Cares on 5, and then you take a shit on your opponent.
Yeah, that's broken.
A wolf shit, even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah,
bullshit.
That's broken.
That looks fun though. Dances with Wolves. Shout out to Kevin Costner. I think he's a longtime listener of this podcast.
But he prefers the Field of Dreams references.
That is
Or the
definitely-
mailman. Or what was the mailman? The postman.
The
Sorry, go
Postman or Waterworld. You're not naming
Yeah.
the best. You're not
Robin
naming the
Hood.
best. Yeah, Robin
I'll
Hood.
just put
Thieves. The best
I'll just
Kevin
put
Costner
armor
movie.
down and call it the bodyguard.
There we go. There we go.
Ooh.
The king of the 90s.
Sorry.
All right.
yeah.
I knew he was going to sing that. I'm like, all right, let's go.
If we're all gonna be put out of the pasture in Yellowstone if we're not careful.
So,
all right.
Let's very quickly. We only talked about like the major cards. This is important enough. I want to like quickly. Widow, I think, is mediocre. She just goes and decks that rock slide, goes in, and like is an extra rock slide. But there needs to be something on two for those decks, and I'm not sure it exists outside of Zabu. Maximus is going to be sick in Sarah when Sarah's good again. Viper is not a card that should be played anymore, I don't think. Gladiator still probably shouldn't be played, sorry. And I think Martyr is a great card. And I'm not
Tell it
talking
to
about
Dara,
Punisher.
by the way.
What about what?
That Gladiator is a card that shouldn't be played.
Yeah. Like lots of like streamers like Gladiator. Gladiator also creates really interesting content. So like it's worth keeping that in mind. But like
He swears when he misses. He's worth 6K.
I just don't think Gladiator's good. I honestly still don't. Better, like significantly
okay.
better.
I think he's
Yeah,
okay.
like sure, but like you know what you shouldn't do in Marvel Snap? Put just okay cards in your deck if you want to win. Like you can play Howard the Duck and meme all you want, right? But like, should you generally?
No.
So-
I feel like he should have been a Series 4.
But they weren't going to
But-
make both him and Martyr Series 4. And Martyr's better.
Well, that's my girl.
Oh, 1/5 is
Beautiful.
so good. It's so good.
She's coming for you. Wait for it. Once Lambie puts it in, oh, she's good.
Or everyone's playing it on Tuesday after Cozy talks about it on Monday.
If the goose gets a hold of her or Lambie, we're in trouble.
I might make a martyr deck. We'll do it.
I've got Martyr decks. Like good Martyr decks. Martyr's
That's what I'm
real.
doing tonight.
I mean, literally, go back, ready? Go find the W Guardians deck. Figure out what the card you least need is, and then remove a 2-drop. Add Martyr, add Ravona, say thank you, enjoy your wins. That's it. That's the deck.
I like Rocher Raccoon, everybody's French raccoon as well, and that
Sure.
I like that card.
Too little power compared to Martyr.
All right. Well, let's move into the main segment of this episode.
Wait, no, we're not.
Oh,
No, we're not.
oh, right. We got to do the series drops. I apologize. So the series drops January 9th. So series 4, big group of cards are moving down. We got Kitty Pryde. We got friend of the show, Howard Duck. We got Ghost Spider, Echo, Hitmonkey, Dakin, Phoenix Force, Silver Samurai, and Lady Deathstrike, all moving down to just 3K tokens. All right, and then the big ones, the most important, are the Series 3 drops that you can get one free one a month, and of course, open on the collection track. So we've got Master Mold, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, Spider-Man 2099, Stature, and Stegron. All right. And thank you, Nina, for this graphic. All right.
Oh, last graphic, by the way, since we credited Nina too, was Drewberry. So credit to Nina for this one, Drewberry for the last one.
Awesome. All right. Robo, what you got for us about your thoughts about the series drops?
Ooh, shout out to Pulse's video this week. I gotta be honest, it's kind of crap. From a competitive standpoint. If you're competitive at the game and like to win, this is not the greatest drops for you. Dakin and Monkey and Samurai are probably the best ones. It's interesting, right? And I want to quote Pulse again on this. It was his final thoughts on the drops where, well, at least there's only good cards left that they need to drop. It feels a little out of pocket. They can't throw in like a Darkhawk or a Zabu or like throw somebody a frickin' bone, to quote Dr. Evil. I really feel like this wasn't enough. And Echo's cool that she dropped too. I kind of forgot about her in there. I'll add her into that. But I think Paul says it in his latest video about everything. Like stature's good too. But I find her kind of boring. I know, no hate in the comments. But like Darkhawk, Zabu, any card that's not like within the last 3 months or so should probably been on the table and for discussion. And this seems a little not short-sighted, but very anti-consumer, I'll even say.
Mm-hmm. I have one new take. Prashaun, go first.
For me, it doesn't matter because I have every card, to be honest. But for those who
I'm a whale, I don't care.
But those that do care,
I have every card too, chat.
Like it's weird. It's showing you maybe the Dakin season sucked, except for X23. It's showing you like
they threw down. I didn't realize they threw down everything. But
I mean, really, the hate for Dakin are just you all are not discard players. Like Dakin is a perfectly fine card in its archetype. Like
he is a good card, but it's showing you how bad that season was, right? Because that's pretty much every card in that season except for X23, and then
which is clearly the best. Like even if Dakin is good, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then they're force feeding like Phoenix Force down your throat, like, and then all the cards. Well, Kitty Pryde got nerfed, Hit Monkey got nerfed, 2099 no one plays, and then Negasonic sorta got a resurgence, but it's cards that no one wants to play. So it's like, why drop these cards down when no one's playing these cards? Maybe they'll get a resurgence because people that didn't have access to them now have access to them. But everyone's going to play the new shiny thing, and these aren't the new shiny thing.
So, I think the Series 3 thing is genuinely insulting. I'm most annoyed at Zabu. The Null and Darkhawk annoy me. They should have just thrown one down to be nice. But when Zabu season came out, we were all under the impression that every 3-ish months or so, however long after the season passed, it would go down, and that it's now been literally in a week, it'll have been a year since Zabu was released, and they still didn't bother to put it down, I think is genuinely obnoxious and genuinely insulting to the consumer. However, I've softened on the 5-4 thing for a couple reasons. The 5-4 thing doesn't really matter unless you're buying into these cards with tokens. And bluntly, except maybe Phoenix, and we've just read Black Swan, so soon Hit Monkey. You shouldn't be spending tokens on these cards. You just shouldn't. What this
except
does...
for Howard, he misspoke.
Oh, sorry, except for Howard. Right. The Golden Duck. So... Lost my train of thought. Thanks, Robo. Okay, so my theory is what these do is it gives you a greater chance of opening these in Series 4. So all they did by making these go from 5 to 4 was give you a greater chance at opening, because your random variant that you can get, right, the one that's often 1,000 tokens, has a greater chance of being Series 4 than Series 5. I don't remember the exact math, and I don't want to bother Lauren this late at night. But, so I think, if we're going to open a random card, right? If you had a greater chance of Series 4 without these drops, odds are, you're just going to end up getting tokens, right? I'd rather have I'd rather have any of these cards, basically, than that extra 1,000 tokens. And I think that increased chance is pretty decent. And that is the largest thing anyone's going to get out of this. So that's nice, right? There's just, I don't want to, I bought Deathstrike because I'm an idiot. But, I don't want to spend tokens for Deathstrike, but if I randomly can have 1,000 tokens or Deathstrike, it's cool, look, I got a card. And I think that's what the Series 5 to 4 does. So I guess I'm fine. It would have been really nice. Even now, as I'm trying to find the bright side, it would have been really nice to just throw a Jeff or Lad in there. It would not have killed them to throw one of their big cards in there.
Yeah. Lad would have been nice with Howard too. I want to bring up what you said to in your video where say you're midway through Series 3 and you open freaking 2099 instead of Dr. Doom. You're going right to the liquor store right after. That's just the way it is. I feel like that's an L. You can't keep they're jamming things into Series 3 and making it worse for the new customers, in my opinion.
That's the fundamental problem with series drops, though, right? Like, is that if you kick cards, even good cards, right, into Series 3, you're just extending the Series 3 experience, right? Like, every single new card extends the Series 3 experience for players who are in the middle of the collection and in the early on of the collection, right? For those of us who are, I am no longer Series 4 and 5 complete, but I am definitely Series 3 complete. And so this doesn't impact me, but I think for now, there's 2 of these cards that I own, Master Mold and Stegron, which I'm excited to get Master Mold. There's a lot of like cool Master Mold decks I've wanted to play for a long time, but I haven't been able to because I'm not spending tokens on that card. But I think that's a huge problem. I think the series system is fundamentally broken when you think about it, the Series 3 climbing experience and what it means to dump new cards into it. I think another element of this is I don't think cards that they can sell Spotlight token openable or Spotlight key openable variants will drop out of Series 4 or 5. Whether that's powerful or those are desirable cards. So like design wise. And I think some of these cards got kicked down to 4 to make them cheaper, more accessible. And I think as Glazer shows down, maybe the feel bad experience of when you get the extra one is a little less. But there's still, some of them are still, I think some of these cards will not leave Series 4. I don't think Kitty will leave Series 4. I don't think Hitmonkey will leave Series 4. I don't think Dakin will, or Ghost Spider. Like a lot of those characters, Phoenix Force will not leave Echo if her series is successful. Oh, she's not leaving Series 4 either, because you'll get people to open Spotlight caches or Spotlight keys or whatever the term is now for those variants. And that's another reason to keep that system going. I think I don't think that this is our bad set of cards necessarily to be kicked to where they were. Like I wasn't as upset with Glazer. Like I think is adding, for example, Series 3, this is a decent mix of like interesting cards to like open if you're in the middle of Series 3. Yes, you'd be sad that you opened Spider-Man 2099 instead of Doctor Doom if you're a pure min-maxer, but if you're a person who like is climbing Series 3 with a move deck, you might be like, ooh, Spider-Man 29, that's a cool card, right? There's like lots of reasons to like desire the cards they put in Series 3. Each of them is like interesting, like for someone with a collection that's incomplete. So I think there's more going on here than just like the anger that Glazer fundamentally expressed. But again, every time this Series 3 comes up is that their card rarity system is, I apologize, teenagers who may be listening to this, it's just fucked. Like, and they need to figure out like a better system. I think the Spotlight Cash system is good, but I think the rest of the apparatus around it is terrible. So once they need to figure out something besides this Series 4 or 5 going forward.
Sorry. I just wanted to. Do they still charge, or can you still buy a random Series 3 for 1,000 tokens, or do they take that out?
Someone today on a video was like, so I should do that, right? And I was like, no, what? No, please don't do that.
Yeah. I just wanted to add, I really think that it, like in a year's time, if they don't drop like, some of these to Series 3, the Kitty, for example, or Hitmonkey, I really don't see that situation happening. I think just based on the way that, I don't want to say the internet, but the way the community is, people are going to keep pushing. And, even people like myself and Glazer, not that we're like Obama on the internet, but like we got some following. And I feel like, what's right is not to
the internet.
Things. I don't know. He's the most followed person on Twitter, isn't he?
Oh, is he? I don't know.
I don't think
I think so.
Like, what is this reference?
I think he was at one point for a long time.
All right. Well, comment down below.
I got the metaphor.
Well, do they add a Series 6 then?
No. What they need to do, and like the honest answer, isn't that Series 4 and 5 are broken inherently. It's that Series 4 and 5 are broken with the way they do acquisition in Series 3. Right? Like, it's the issue isn't the new series. The issue is that these things, as like the only solution, is to continue to make Series 3 torturous. Like, every time I talk about Series 3 on a video, I get like 20 comments of people being like, oh my god, thank you. I can't believe no one is talking about this. Because like everyone else, like the content creators have all been done with Series 3 for ages, right? And everyone forgets that like oh, well, whatever, it was 2 months, and like we're content creators, so most of us just wailed our asses straight through it, right? It was no major thing. But if you're going through it now, it's at least like 4 or 5, 6 months. And like, that's excessive. That's just excessive to be like, I would like to meaningfully engage with this game. And there's this luck-based part of it that I can't get through, that there's no way for me to get through outside of like super whaling. People quit. People quit all the time. I know people who quit. People on my Discord are like, hey, this has been really fun. Thanks so much for the content. I'm done. I can't deal with this. And it's just like, yeah, I'm not mad at you. Like, fix fucking Series 3.
Well, it gets even more crazy. I don't know if there's any Hearthstone fans listening or here, but Brian Kibler, probably arguably one of the best Hearthstone legends, his Hearthstone views were going down a bit. He wanted to get another game. I know he would play Snap, but it's either going to be, yeah, he did, but the acquisition system just turned him off because it's either you spend thousands to progress it or you wait 6 months when you're a content creator. Probably nobody's going to care about, the early stuff. I just feel like, there's even more problems that come up, like even from, looking from second dinner down, right? Like, why wouldn't they want Brian Kibler making content? Like, he'd make the best cool decks. Everyone would love him. Like, it would be good for the game, but his only option is to drop like $3,000 or $4,000 to get up to speed. Like, ridiculous. So 100% behind that. And it's not, like, I have every card too. I spend money on the game. I also make a bit of money on the game. They also have to realize that, right? Like, I would feel like a complete and utter idiot if I didn't spending this much money on a video game. Like, people don't really understand that how much money they're asking from us, right? Not people, but like, in general, I think that it's kind of ignored. It's sort of like a money pit or a slot machine of sorts, but
it's definitely a slot machine.
Yeah, like, and I feel like they don't really understand that, so there's my little rant. I don't want to get too into it and get kicked out of the creator program, but
No, I think
Look,
there's
have you seen some of the shit people saying there? You ain't getting kicked out.
I skim. That's it.
There's a big problem, I think. Like, the fact that there's not a crafting system in this game, I think, or like even the really terrible, like, this game sometimes makes me miss Magic Arena's wildcard system, because really at the end of the day, like, once I got the resource, be it a wildcard or in Hearthstone, what is it, Dust, right? It's Dust, right, in Hearthstone. I could buy any card I wanted at any time. Right, you put the money in the machine and eventually you got the currency you wanted, and any time you could get the card. But right now, if you want, for example, I'm just going to pick a card that I'm looking for, Ravonna, right? Which, people will say, oh, you could have opened Spotlight Caches last week, Roy, and gotten it, but like, it wasn't worth it for the rest of those cards for me. But now there's interesting decks, and for Ravonna, the only option I have to get that card is to, even though I have the tokens to buy her, is to wait every 8 hours for one card to circle through, and hopefully Ravonna pops up and I can click buy. Right? The fact that I can't just, okay, I have 6K tokens or whatever she is, scroll down to where she is in the shop, press the button. Right? There's like, and get her, even though I have in the past spent the money to get the resources. Right? There's like a lot of really bad moving parts of like how this economy works, that even just besides Rob was 100% right, that like this game is a money pit. And it's just, even if you are willing to spend the money, like right now, if I just opened my Christmas bonus and I was like, I'm gonna spend the entire Christmas bonus on Marvel Snap to get Ravonna, I actually, like, spending that money wouldn't get me what I wanted, right? Or maybe it would if I wait these 8-hour periods, but it's not going to give me, by that time, the Ravonna decks may not be good thanks to the OTAs or whatever, right? So it's like not a very functional system the more stress you put on it.
And I just want to add this because this is real. So I have a bunch of IRL friends that play card games, Not all of them, but some of them do. You know, when I talk about Marvel Snap, you know what they say? I don't want to fucking talk about Marvel Snap. I'm over that. It's over. People are tainted. Even if they switch everything back, all this whole shenanigans with the monetization and all that, people are tainted. So, it's either they can continue down this road and continue to lose people, or they can change it. But there's still some people, like one of my best friends, there's absolutely no way. And he's a couple $100 in. Absolutely no way he's going back in. He's, and it's principle. It's not that he doesn't like the game. He loves the gameplay. He loves everything, the community. It's just he felt wrong. And, it's like, if somebody
All right.
wronged me in real life, I'm not going to stay on that, right? Anyways.
We got to
End of
keep
rant.
moving because you're leaning on one of my hot takes.
All right. Well, then let's get into this.
Hot take for hot take.
Yeah, hot take time. All right. So we're going to be doing hot takes. Each one of us is going to offer two. Robo will be going second, and I'll be going third, and Glazer will be going fourth. So we're going to start with Prashaun. Prashaun, what is your first hot take of the week, month? Actually, the last hot take of 2023.
I don't know if it's a hot. Well, Loki isn't that good.
Ooh,
In my honest
pretty
opinion.
spicy.
I think it only works in tournament play when you take a opponent by surprise. But I would say climbing ladder, I don't think it's that good. And Lambie plays it phenomenally. Like I give him all the credit in the world. But when I play the same deck, I suck. And then when I play against it, I win. So that's and plus like when I see the Quinjet collector, whatever, then I typically retreat. You could have 1 cubes and move on with your life. Just like how Galactus was with the wave and whatever. So I honestly don't think it's that good.
I think it is in tournaments and Conquest. It's just mid on ladder.
Right.
Well, I agree with you, Prashaun. I brought that the Loki might be passe last week. I got yelled at. So I support your take 100%, man. Like give me that hot sauce right there. I'm on board.
Let's go.
Yeah, I feel like, with Shang being in every deck too, or at least with mine and Shadow King, collector's just easily dealt with. I'm not really scared of it. I'm like, okay, this lane, unless he armors it or Cosmos or does some other crazy crap, I'm probably okay.
All right. So what is our spiciness rating? Let's say out of 10. 5 being, a nice mild wing. Like 1 being like white people food, and 10 being like you sent it back to the kitchen to be like, no, don't give me white people food.
Wait, I'm confused. You mean give me white people food? If it's a 10,
No. 10 is like the spiciest, where
Yes,
it's like you sent it back and they had to send it back.
You transitioned that all kinds of ways. Like 10 is
I
the
thought everybody liked McDonald's.
Yeah,
10's the spiciest. You're on that like hot
And then one's like
show
ketchup.
that all the celebrities on. 5 is like you are in
you got a nice little tang.
Yeah, tang. And then 1 is like Sabaro's pizza, like the most generic, like worthless Olive Garden, like spicy suburban white mom. Okay, got it.
It's like you're from Canada, yeah, exactly.
Okay. I was thinking more the DMV suburbs, Red Rock.
You're right. That was a shot at Robo.
My dad actually thinks that Tostitos regular is super hot.
Oh,
You're not wrong.
So there you go.
He's like, woo! I'm like, I look at the bottle, I'm like, regular salsa? All right, Dad.
Wow.
Shout out to Grandpa Robo.
So, Prashaun, you don't get to rate yourself. The others of us do. Robo, what's your rating?
7. I read it on Twitter before.
All right, Roy.
I'm gonna give it actually, and I said this without Prashaun because I agree with your hot take. I'm gonna give it a 5 because I think it's like common sense if you really think about Loki.
I'm a 5 also, so we're gonna average that out to a 6 as our spiciness rating.
All right.
Robo, be spicy.
I got a couple.
I'm saving my spiciness for number 8.
You have a couple. You have 2.
You only get to do 2. So
I know. Fine. I'm gonna go super spice. I am constantly cringed out by at least 10 content creators on Twitter every day. I feel like they need to shut up. The social interactions and their emotional intelligence of half these people makes me cringe. I cannot read half of it. I'm not going to name names, but my God, go touch some grass. What is wrong with you?
I want to say names so bad, I'm not going to.
I'm
There's
going to say a
like
name.
two
I'm
we
going to
agree
say a
on.
name. I'm going to say a
Okay.
name. There is a person on Snap Twitter that I'm
Is it
getting
Braves?
hundreds of messages every single day to the
It's
point
going to be
where
me.
I had to put a specific like profile on my phone to prevent it from going off, and just like I would click and be like, oh, what's going on with this content creator? I click, it's the most useless shit. It's like liking like yes, and then like got 17 likes, or this is a nice the clouds are nice today, 15 million likes. That yes is Pulse Glazer, or Pulse as Robo calls him.
Well, it's
Yes,
like Gilmore.
so I agree 100%.
He's watching the fucking Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, like I'm sorry.
The Gilmore Girls
like,
is the best show on earth. I want nothing for it.
I saw that.
That's a hot take.
I mean, look, if we're really, Glazer and I can go tit for tat about Gilmore Girls. And
We
we've done
do
it
on a different podcast.
Yeah.
I was like, what is this?
I'm choosing to disengage from that conversation to go back to this about how, yes, Robitussin, that is true. The emotional intelligence that Glazer shows in these notifications, like how many are currently there? Let's see, are currently on here. There are 28 current notifications on my phone that have come to me since the last time I cleared them out, thanks to Aaron Glazer. So
Excuse me.
Yes,
Excuse me. Time out. Literally, Doug Pie. The reason you have so many notifications has nothing to do with me. Doug Pie made a tweet that said tag a content creator, and so people are tagging. Like, that's it. I've had nothing to do with any of these. Nothing to do with any of these.
Again, I'm just saying.
Although we love Doug Pie.
Shout out to Doug Pie.
Yeah, we love
shout
Doug
out
Doug Pie.
Jinx.
We are not talking about you, Doug Pie.
Again, I'm just be clear. Continue to ruin my life by following us at SnapJudgeCast on Twitter /X. But
this is the route we're going with these hot takes, because I
mean,
could go
whatever route you want to go.
Okay, all right.
Mine are about the game more specifically, but I think that's hilarious because I like.
You told me
it.
to bring the freaking heat. I wasn't. It's not even written down. I just went off the cup.
I want to do one name so bad. I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be good because this is on Snap Zone, not my shit.
Yeah, this
on
is
my
a reflection
shit,
of me and my stupid question.
On my shit, I will.
Stupid answer.
If any of you want to know, let me know.
I mean, again, I named a name. I'm just gonna say it. I named a name. That name is Pulse.
You know what? You know
there's
what?
a chat. There's a chat here too.
So his name is. I mean, you know who the fuck I mean.
Okay. All right, so we need to do the rating of. All right, I'm gonna start with you, Prashaun. What is the spiciness rating from 10 to 1 for that take?
I give that an 8 because I think I could go spicier on my next take.
Woo!
Oh wow!
All right,
I'm waving. By the way, just to get the air on my face. It's sweaty. The goose is cooking.
Oh no, you go ahead, Glazer, first.
I think it's a 7. I think it's reasonably spicy.
Well, because I live it every day, I'm going to give it a 1. Because I'm a white person, and this is the food I have to eat every single day. All right, I'm dealing with Glazer here. So I'm going to give it a 1 because it's not spicy to me. It's just my life experience.
All right, so that's
a Salisbury steak, though. He's
that's going to average out to a 5, right? Am I wrong here? 5 or 4? Someone tell me.
Are you kidding me? You're killing me, Roy.
We got an 8, a 7, and a 1.
Ooh.
Get him off the podcast. I'm in. Wow.
I will be on the podcast next week, so don't sweat. So, all right.
Yeah, that's Lambie's week. All right. Because Roy and Lambie are never on at the same time. They're secretly the same person. Roy is Lambie. You heard it here first. All right.
Lambie knows how to take care of himself. I don't. So anyway.
Yeah, that's right. Roy, get spicy.
All right. Mine is that I definitely appreciate the communication and the balance team's hard work, but the OTAs come too fast and too furious. The balance of the game changes too much. Every single week, almost every single week, there being balance updates is just way too fast. I think specifically to me, what stands out of this is the Viper change this week. We got like a day and a half to experiment with the Viper Havok gameplay. And the fact that they're also not consistent. Some decks are allowed to run wild while others, like that Havok deck, get nerfed while they're in their infancy. Like, I think it's really great that the balance team is taking this seriously and communicating their logic every single week. And I appreciate their hard work. But the game just blows up its own spot too much. And I think I wish that there was more balance between having faith in their card designs. I was saying this earlier on the show. That's why I said put a pin on it, because I was going to bring it back. They need to have more faith in their card designs, whether that's slightly reining in their cards at the design and playtesting level internally to second dinner, or allowing these metas to go. I think twice a month is way better than this like frequent update, because like my ability to play waxes and wanes the last couple of days because I've been at home waiting for some stuff that's going on in my personal life. I've played a lot of Marvel Snap, but there's been other times where I can only play a couple hours a week, and things are just constantly changing. Having to update your decks in the blind, like it's, if you're not constantly following content creators, I bother Glazer every time I have to update a deck because the OTA changed since the last time I was really able to play it. Like, I think that the cadence of the game moves too fast for someone who's passionate about it, but can't constantly be on top of it. I think in these kind of balance updates, there's sort of two dogs that you can feed. You can feed the sort of hyper casual, never change player, or the hyper competitive, the Aarons of the world, who like literally would love it if there was a balance update every single day. All right, I think they've done a good job feeding that dog, and less of a good job feeding the sort of more like casual needs a regular cadence to know your cards are going to do what you expect them to do for like 2 weeks. Is that a lot to ask? I'm not sure. But again, I want to put in the wrap here that like I respect the work that the balance team does, and I think the arguments they make, and I learn a lot about Marvel Snap reading them, but I think the cadence is way too fast. And I do hope it slows down a little in 2024.
Prashaun? You don't have to rate it. Talk about it first.
I understand, Roy. I totally understand. But someone like me, I'm day one infinite. And when I see like something run rampant and I'm bored with the game, I want changes. Like I think the game is always going to be in flux, and then they have to, I guess, stop things before they go too rampant, right? Like
You mean
certain
like Loki?
decks, right? They have to stop certain things, that way it doesn't go too out of control, because everyone's going to play something, like play the same thing. So they want to make everything different. And I totally understand the changes, but I think this take for me is probably a 3, because I love the changes, to be honest, all the time. I wish they could change cards every day. That way the community's more engaging. The community's complaining about it. There's more creativity when it comes to deck making, I feel. And I think that's what Second Dinner wants, right? They don't want the monotonous, everyone's playing the same thing, everyone's doing the same thing.
Robo?
Out of spite, I should give him a 1, but I'll give him a 5.
You can give me a 1.
No. No spite. No spite here on the show. Yeah,
Except for those
like,
content creators.
I have a full-time job and it's stressful as hell. Marvel Snap is not the main thing in my life. Not saying it is with anybody or with you, Prashaun. I'm just saying it's less important to me to have it fresh.
I have a
every
family.
day. You know,
Prashaun's got like a literal human child, and he's still like, but as long as Snap changes, that kid's gonna have to change.
I play for Snap 4 hours a day. How much do you play, Prashaun?
To be honest, maybe I stream for like 2 or 3 hours, maybe like 4 or 5, like I don't know, maybe 6 tops.
Yeah. So I don't play off stream at all. I don't, unless like I'm at a friend's and I need to get my missions done. I really don't play off stream. I do it to have fun with my friends first. You know, I look at the game differently. You know, I don't really care about the OTAs really. I know that it's nice to have a fresh meta and all that. It's just like, I'm going to have fun regardless of what the meta is. People are like, oh, I hate what's going on right now. I just have fun with whatever I want to play. That is me and my collection goals and, you know, my life goals, we'll say. I do agree that, you know, maybe they are coming a little too quick, to be perfectly honest. I would have bought Werewolf anyways, but I'm never going to use Werewolf again. If I knew it was going to be like this, you know, not if somebody in my situation probably wouldn't have bought it, but I'd buy everything anyways. It's kind of countering myself there.
So,
but
sorry.
That was basically it. You know, it's different for me, but if I played the game more and off stream, and to be honest, if it was more important to me, I would probably want there to be as many changes as there are. But I'm cool with what they have now. I just feel like with Roy, like things change. I sort of do like if I wasn't a single dude with time where I can mess around with this, I wouldn't really have time to build a deck and do what I want to do, right? So it's you can't please everybody, and this game is impossible to balance. There's a hot take. Bam.
So I think the problem with all the OTAs is their card release and their card acquisition model. Because there's not a lot of consumer confidence in that they can get a card without it being changed quickly if it is good. And if it's not good, they don't really want it. So, I think that the actual problem isn't necessarily the speed of releases, it's the speed of releases in combination with the way that they release cards and then balance cards, right? But Gladiator and Martyr are both less than a month old. And they've both been changed already. Elsa's been changed twice in a month. That's not healthy, and that does not lead to people wanting to buy cards. I don't care about changes, but I wish the changes, weren't focused on brand new cards nearly as much, and instead were on older stuff. I think that would leave the game in a far healthier place and leave us with a lot more consumer confidence.
I want to add something on that. In other card games, they do nerf new cards, but their refund system, disenchant and all that also makes it kind of a moot point, right? If you craft a Dr. Cool in Hearthstone and Dr. Cool is nerfed, you're going to get your money back. So it's really a win-win. And when a card is released that's that broken, you can have confidence that you can craft it and know that, chances are you're going to be able to play Dr. Cool for a month for free, which Snap doesn't have any of that.
So I'm at a 7. I think that's reasonably spicy, even if not for exactly the reasons why I said, and I'm going to give it a 5. I'm going to give it a 7, which averages it out to a 5. My hot take number 1. My hot take number 1 is Marvel Snap's got a major problem with power creep right now. We are power creeping through the fucking roof right now. Blob is exhibit 1A of just how insanely powerful things are. To get anything close to Blob's power, you used to have to skip a turn. And even then, have you ever... I play a lot of hella Black Knight decks, right? Because usually that 20 power shard is a lot. But when Blob is casually 35, it's nothing. So, it power creeps the hell out of the game. Loki power creeps the hell out of Sarah. Elsa power creep the hell out of Angela. They are just straight up releasing better versions of stuff over and over, and they're doing it completely on purpose to sell shit. And they do it because what they say is they want constantly new cards to keep the game exciting, but we have a fucking major power creep problem in Marvel Snap. I can't imagine that Darkhawk the Darkhawk meta deck with Black Bolt and Stature, even pre-nerf, competing with the best decks right now. No. They would get blown the fuck out of the water. The Silky Smooth from literally 3 months ago is a fully functional deck that's a tier 3 deck now. Yes, the context has changed, but what's changed more than the context is that they power creeped the living shit out of the game for the last 3 months. And they've nerfed half those cards, and it's still way above the power level it was. Yeah, that's how you do spicy, motherfuckers.
I think it makes sense. What you're trying to say, the better decks maybe a few months ago aren't even competing, so you have to buy the new hotness to even be competitive in any type of meta that's going on now. So
and every card game has power creep. Sorry, go ahead.
Sure, but this fast.
Yeah, there's an expansion in most card games every 3 months. Glazer, I don't know. I know the world doesn't revolve around
it's not. Snap. But it's not that. No,
okay,
man.
I'm gonna.
That's not true.
I'm gonna speak a foreign language to our two guests and most of our hosts here. Aaron, do you remember though that in second edition they went from the core set to releasing the mountain in the first chapter pack of...
Yes.
All right, so we haven't had power creep in other
I'm not saying there's no power creep. I'm saying the speed of power creep at this point in the game, outside of a core set into this is not a core set, right? Because Magic has its whatever they're called. They don't have what is Magic called?
Don't sweat it. They don't have it.
Oh, they don't do those? All right. You know what I'm talking about though, right?
I know what you're talking
Magic
about.
used to do the really shitty, boring ones that I hated.
The core sets, yes.
Yeah, the core sets. Oh, they were core sets also? Okay, that's convenient. But sure, those that compared to everything else, but one Magic set to another would be they're not significantly generally power crept on each other. One chapter pack to another. Like some would be better than others, but they weren't power creeping in on each other, at least unless you were looking on like a year-to-year basis instead of a month-to-month basis. That Snap is literally like the deck that was the best in August is now tier 3. Is bonkers. That is 4 months for
I agree with that.
a completely new meta.
But isn't that what they want?
Gradual.
Yes. I'm not saying it's an accident. I'm just saying it's shitty.
Well, but people love, like, it's interesting because I just gave one of the ways they create metagame churn a hard time, right? But this is the other way they can create metagame churn, right? And like they're kind of similar, but not exactly the same. For me, I mean, I mostly agree with you, Glazer, but I think the problem is like Marvel Snaps doesn't have enough cards, right? Like, and I think that, that means that they like need, when a card is an outlier, it stands out even more. And the fact that cards are released one at a time also
means
has
everyone's playing it.
Yeah, everyone's playing it, right? And that draws attention to it, and it makes this like power creep more obvious, right? And very like artificial, right? Because like when a new card, like a new Hearthstone set or a new Magic set releases, there will be power creep cards. Some of them are caught in the preview season, but then others of them like emerge naturally. It's just like, oh, in draft I played this card, it was busted. Let me play it in my constructed deck. Holy shit, it's busted, right? Like an example of a Magic card recent. This is a card called Tashina's Tidebinder, which was kind of ignored in the preview season, but as soon as it was out in the wild, was proved to be great. That doesn't happen as much in Marvel Snap because every single card has such a spotlight on it, and that makes
spotlight.
Yeah, it does, and that makes the power creep. I think personally, I like the power level Marvel Snap is moving towards, like just as like how I enjoy games. Like I like the kind of swingier effects and sort of bigger and splashier effects that they've been doing maybe the last six-ish months. But I get what some people don't. That's totally cool. But I do think that the problem of power creep in Marvel Snap is a structural one based on their card releases. And then I think that the problem is they try to use OTAs to make it up for that. And then that creates the problem I was complaining about in my hot take. To you, Robo. You have something you want to say?
I just want to say that was a great answer to that. I was going to say Hearthstone is what, 5,000 cards? What does Marvel Snap have? 150?
200 and something.
Yeah, okay. I don't even know how many, but yeah, 100%, right? Like look at the amount of cards. That is a lot to be said about power creep, right? So you know what? I am going to lean back a bit, and I'm going to give Pulse a little more credit than I thought. I'm going to give him a 7.
P?
I go 7 too. That's a pretty good take.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 7. Like it's pretty spicy.
I'm winning. Prashaun, go.
I would have had a 7.5.
You would have. Roy buried you. Prashaun.
All right. So this one's about the Conquerors event. To be honest, I voted for Lambie, and I don't care who was in it. Lambie was gonna win.
Well, that's not even spicy. Yes, Lambie's the best.
Okay.
All right. Congratulations. You're now eating mild Tostitos and calling them hot.
Okay. And my second. All right. Fine. I'll take that one back.
Backsies.
0.
Like Lambie was going to win. No shit.
That is unsalted peanuts right there.
I voted for Nina, by the way, and no regrets. I'm just saying.
Okay. So. All right, fine.
I voted for KK. Shout out to KK.
Yeah, shout out.
I voted for Moyen by accident. I voted for Lambie, and you could change your vote once. And I didn't read, so I thought I just get to vote twice. And so I was like, okay, I'll take Lambie and Moyen. And it canceled my Lambie vote for Moyen, and I was like, I didn't like Moyen that much, but oh well.
All right.
I don't know that dude.
Can I take that one back then?
No.
I mean, I guess.
All right, fine.
Still gets the 0 score, though.
I still get a 0 no matter what. I think with the Professor X like nerf, I think he's still good, to be honest. I don't think it did anything to him. He could be a 0 and he could still lock people out.
I mean, I agree because of Ravona more than anything else, but I think I agree with that. Robo.
I kind of zoned out for a minute. Professor X with Ravonna is
Still,
better.
Professor X is still good. Is the take?
Yeah. Miss Marvel, blah blah blah.
Yeah. So that's like a 2. So you got from a 1
Fine.
to a 2.
Fine.
No. You're out of hot takes. That's your last hot take. You
Fine.
got no spice. It's all right. What you got, Robo?
I'll get out the horseradish. The staffing issues, that second dinner.
Oh wait, no, we didn't rate.
Explain.
You got to rate. You got to rate.
Yeah, sorry. 2.
Roy.
I kind of know what Prashaun was trying to get at with that Lambie take.
I didn't want to go
I-
too deep.
So how he expressed it was extremely mild, but I get underneath what he's trying to say. So I'll give him a 3.
Okay.
All right, so he's had a 2 because we're not doing
Because
0.5.
I was trying to say something without saying something. That's all.
I understood. But
I
you
didn't
want
wanna-
to be spicy.
I didn't want
Robo.
to get canceled like Alex. So
Oh, ouch! I mean, he is very canceled. Robo.
Yeah, completely switching subjects. The staffing announcement that when they're like, oh, we were having staffing issues. That is not the consumer's problem. As somebody in leadership, I was quite insulted on that.
I don't even remember this.
The premium pricing of the game is one thing, but staffing and they had a tweet where they talked about staffing, or it was a post in Discord. And that is not the consumer's problem whatsoever. To be honest, that is something that should be kept internal, and that should never happen again. Anything put on the consumer that can be and should be handled internally in private conversations is unacceptable to put on social media. Again, what are you doing here? If my staff or anybody did that, I would be furious. Like, that is not something that, first off, I guess they're trying to get sympathy. But regardless of your internal staffing issues, that is not anything that should be public knowledge, let alone whatever they were trying to do, releasing that to the public. If that happens again, I'm going to respond to it. I kind of let it slide because, I kind of felt bad for them at the time, but really inexcusable. I don't really, even if the game was cheaper, that is still not anything at all that should be talked about publicly. If you have staffing issues, you need to either restructure or you need to figure that out. Nothing should come to the consumer communicating that and as an excuse for something else, right? Ridiculous.
I think as a consumer, like, we want to know everything, right? Like, this day and age, like, we want to know how things are made in the kitchen a little bit. So,
No.
like, for them,
In my opinion, no.
like, for them to be transparent, like in this day and age, kids want to know everything. They want to see how cards are made. They want to know like what's happening at second dinner. So I can't fault them for that.
Why do they need to tell us that? No, that is ridiculous. That is not that is a failure of leadership. I'll say that. Whoever said that is fine should not have their position as a leader. Leaders eat last, right? And no,
I'm
it's
sorry.
true.
I'm laughing because my experience with leaders is definitely not that case, bro.
Exactly. That's because
Right.
we've had bad leaders, and it's 99% of people are bad leaders. So I don't fault them that they might have some bad leadership, but that is not something that needs to be communicated. Like, in what world should that have been talked about publicly? I don't care if people want to know or the kids love seeing it on the YouTubes. I don't really care. This isn't a business. And, whoever signed off on that and thought that was a good idea needs to read the book Leaders Eat Last. I don't know who it was, but I will be very vocal if they ever pull that crap again. Even monetary issues. I don't, if they're struggling, okay, that's not the consumer's problem. We are paying a ridiculous amount of money. I tell my friends I've spent $2,000 on this game. They say, "What the hell is wrong with you?" Really? That stuff neds to stop. Regardless of the game and the balance, that all can be communicated. How a card is made. How does, how is the art for Martyr made with MS Paint? I don't care. Show that. But as to the internals of, the company and even something as important as staffing, and then putting the onus and putting it as something to use as kind of a bargaining chip, arguing about something else, is disgusting. So that's the end of that. There's a hot take.
7.
It's difficult for me to rate this, mostly because I don't know what they tweeted or Discord that
Me neither.
about
But it
this
sounds spicy.
like,
Sounds
in context. Like Robo, like what were they trying to excuse? Was it the like Conquerors?
I just remember they tweeted it out. No, this was like a couple months ago.
Okay.
I don't even remember it.
Yeah,
I thought I followed everything.
I mean,
It's
I'll give it
Go
an
ahead.
8 though. Like, I mean, it's a pretty spicy take. Like, because I think
Thank you,
Prashaun's
Roy.
point.
He's making friends again.
No,
Roy's going off the map.
I think Prashaun's point though of like people wanting to know, like we live in a very nosy age, for better or for worse. We're frequently the nosiest about the things that are the least important to be nosy about. And not as nosy as we need to be about the things that are most important to be nosy about. And definitely staffing issues at Marvel Snap are on the lower end of that. But I think within the expectations of the community about communication, I think this is definitely an 8. Telling the community that you should negotiate or they should communicate less is definitely a spicy take.
I'm in cybersecurity and leadership, and if anybody says anything internal, they're probably fired.
Prashaun?
So I'll
Rate
put
us.
I give it an 8 just based off of Robo's passion.
So we are an 8. Robo takes the lead. It's okay. I'm going to take the lead back by the end.
It seems like Robo will fight you to death. Based
All
off
right, wait
of
for
No,
it.
I'm
Roy?
done. I'm done with the spice.
Roy? I got one.
All right.
Right.
I'm gonna need to ramble, I think, a little bit to get to the spice here. It's gonna be a little bit of a journey, so I apologize to my co-hosts and guests here and the loyal listeners and loyal viewers. But I think this is a good end of year spicy take, I guess, for me, because I think the Marvel Snap community as it exists is at a crossroads. 2024 is going to be a year. There's going to be a lot of heat and fire next year, and like in culture and how people engage with each other in culture, and like what different groups and how they're treated in the sort of broader internet discourse is going to. Would make a large bet is going to get extremely toxic as 2024 crawls to its miserable conclusion in 12 more months from now. And the Marvel Snap community needs to make the decision about like what voices it wants to elevate and what voices should be given points of privilege, and like who gets to be in the community and who doesn't. Recent events, both the Conquerors event that's already been mentioned here, but also other stuff. Again, I get all of Glazer's notifications, so I sort of see Marvel Snap discourse at like a higher level, and I'm frequently like just disappointed in it. I think that a lot of people miss the forest for the trees, and there's some like petty interpersonal feuds about just absolute nonsense, while people can run their mouths about groups of people, talk about groups of people, their orientations, things about them, and they still get likes, retweets, tens of thousands, thousands of followers, hundreds of followers, and people watch their streams. And so that's what concerns me. And it's not going to get better in 2024. I know if there's like a lot of people who don't like it when these sort of hot button cultural issues pop up in their fan spaces, and they're like, it will die down. If we don't talk about it, we just ignore it. It will die down. Oh, this is one stupid thing of people need to touch grass and blah, 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 blah. The truth is, though, as someone who like has followed this stuff since 2013, is it's not going to go away. It's just going to get worse. And communities need to make decisions about what voices they're going to elevate and what voices they're going to hold dear, and what is an acceptable way to talk about members of the community. And 2024 is going to put a lot of pressure on communities about this. And
Election season.
Yes. Thank you. American election season, to be clear. And so, which impacts all of the sort of countries in the Anglo-verse. And I'm just really concerned for where Marvel Snap will go. There was a lot of things that were encouraging about the most recent kind of blow-ups about this. I think there's a lot of people out there, prominent names, that have sort of said the right thing, done the right thing, stood up for people who can be marginalized in these spaces. But I also saw a lot of concerning things that when the pressure cooker comes from Marvel Snap, and they come for every single community, big and small. Glazer and I know this very well. The smallest community with the lowest stakes can have these things blow up in people's faces. And Marvel Snap is, not a big community, but we're also not a small community. And I think it's really important that people really think through what is worth elevating and what's worth holding dear in our community as we move into this upcoming, sure to be cursed year of 2024.
I think it all started with the Rian Gonzalez thing, right? That's when the fires in
this
Snap.
all started in
Well, yeah, but in
Council
Snap,
of Nicaea.
But in Marvel Snap, I think that was like the time where Twitter was divided, and then all of a sudden they backpedaled and put everything in the shop, anyways. So it's like you put these people in these predicaments, but you don't say anything after. Even the Conquerors event, you had like KM drop out, you had Kawa drop out, but you add KK and Felicity, but you don't say anything about it. Like you don't address it. So I think addressing it and actually letting the people know all together in Snap instead of letting people fight amongst themselves, I think is totally important. And I think, too, in Snap, they should showcase more people. I know they do in the game, but I think there's a lot of content creators, a lot of good content creators, a lot of newer content creators, too, where it's not like it's Pepsi and Coca-Cola. I think we could have more diversity and more people, because I think when you show more people playing the game, like people that are playing the game themselves see themselves in that person. And I think that can grow the game more than just having it as this boys club, like you can't get in, So I give this take a pretty good 8, because I feel what you're saying, Roy.
Yeah, I don't really want to get too far into this because, I will start off by saying I think next year people are going to be a lot more pissed off because there's one extra card that you're going to have to buy. It's going to be more money. People are already a little broke in general, on average. I feel like the attitude might start to get more negative. I am not a political person. I'm also Canadian. I actually hide all politics-related stuff on my Twitter. Politics are a lot more important, I believe, to probably Americans in general. And despite I tweeted this out. I want nobody's going to be discriminated against in front of me. Nobody's going to be sexist, racist, homophobic, transphobic. I want everybody to be accepted and live the best life. I don't really have a political stance. If you must know, I think it's all a scam, sort of. But in general, I really feel like I think the political side will probably be coming everywhere. And yeah, there probably is going to be a lot of chaotic nature because of the election coming up. Is that appropriate for Marvel Snap? I don't stand on either side. And to be honest, if people talk politics, I go out of my way to change the subject. I don't really like the emotion it brings out and the division I don't like the division. I don't want to bring up that I'm old, but like it's a hell of a lot different in the 90s when I was a kid. Even the world. So, it's a very hot button issue. Everybody's affected. A housing where I live for a 3-bedroom is $1.1 million for a piece of crap. Yes, my dollars were 25% less than yours, but I feel like, the political chargedness and everything going in with, the monetization of Marvel Snap is kind of probably going to be a perfect storm situation where it is going to be a lot. I personally do not talk about politics. If somebody's an asshole or racist or a piece of shit, yeah, I'm going to call him out 100%. It's just, I really want to.
It's going to be so fun watching Robitussin realize that for a large portion of our fan bases, that's going to be what's considered political. Saying that racism is bad has been called political.
Oh yeah, for
And
sure.
when that starts happening in your community, you're gonna like have almost no choice but to change your mind.
No, I ignore people. You know, I this is how I got my job. Actually, is I said, you know, I'm a very open person in general, right? I give everybody the best of all worlds. However, I am 1% ignorant, and if somebody wants to be a piece of crap, I'm just gonna throw them in the bin. I'll hide them or I'll block them, whatever. I don't really care. I can show you my DMs sometimes, Glazer. People go emotional on me. I don't even read it. I don't care. You know, if somebody wants to say anything in regards to, you know, racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, I don't have time for that. I don't want to hear this piece of crap going off on me. And, you know, I'm here to talk about video games primarily, but if I need to cut somebody off, I do. And, you know, I don't take sides. I like I said earlier, I don't like politics in general. I wish everybody was just happy and the world got along.
So what you're missing entirely is that everything you've just said is taking sides to certain people. So like,
sure,
you're like, I don't take sides, but you are 100% right now taking sides.
Not on a political spectrum.
But
that's your opinion.
Wait,
that's your opinion. And that's
all right.
Listen though. I did not want to talk about politics at all.
We can let that go. If you don't want to talk about it, we can let it go. It's fine.
No, I'm just going to state that, like, you know, I don't live in your world. I live in fucking Canada. Right? Like, I live in Canada. I go out to Tim Hortons. Like, hey, buddy, how's it going? You know, like, that's what I don't live in your world. And yeah, maybe a lot of people on a political spectrum do fall in those categories, but saying that everybody does, and there's a lot of them.
Did anyone say everybody does? And
I'm just stating generally, right? We're talking. This could be a Twitter bot that goes off. This could be somebody that, you know, has, you know, some sort of mental problems or something. I don't know it could be anything. But you know, I'm just gonna stop there. That, like, I hate all politics. Let's never talk about this again, and we'll move forward.
Well, give us a number.
Fucking 8, I guess, because of my emotions.
All right, Glaze, what you got?
I'm at a. I think it's an 8. I think it's a given that the next year is going to be fucked in Snap. I get. I don't know if any of you watched my video about where I talked about the last controversy, but literally my entire claim was be kind and be inclusive to people. Like, I just basically said that like 6 different ways, right? I was as nice as I've ever been about this, and I'm not a nice person about this kind of thing. And like, I still, like, every day am deleting like 6 to 8 comments of people being like genuinely toxic.
Yeah,
like,
being kind and helpful is what, like, that's my whole mantra of life.
Cool,
that's all I want.
But like, that was like my whole claim in the video was like, be kind, be inclusive, let people like try things. It won't hurt you. And every day I'm getting people like today's I got like 4 go woke, get broke, no one's gonna watch you anymore comments. I'm just like, cool, thanks. Just had my biggest week ever. Appreciate your take. But like this is this year, and it's gonna spread like to streams. It's gonna go big. It just always does.
For sure.
Do you feel like you need to reply to those people, though?
No, I don't give a shit. I delete them. But it's not about replying to them. It's about what it does to the discourse overall. It changes the way people interact with the game.
Oh yeah, for
it
sure.
Changes the way people interact with each other. Changes the way people interact with the community.
And then
is everybody in America political, I guess? Is that another thing to think of? Like, I don't know. Like, people in Canada, we just want our houses to be cheaper.
So there's a side of this conversation, and I don't know if like there's a side of the conversation in America that is fundamentally that sexism and racism are solved, and if you think that they are not solved, then you are a problem.
I think also an important thing to keep in mind, right, is there's more to politics than partisan politics, right? Like, nothing I said was about vote for Trump, vote for Biden, vote for Robert Kennedy Jr., vote for whoever, right? politics is like a way in which you engage with other human beings, the way you think society should be organized, the ways in which the ideas that you think in which human beings should interact in society should, be shaped, right? Those are all political things, right? And that's something that undercuts like everything, right? That can sometimes be difficult to wrap your mind around when you like think about, is it like, Tories versus the liberals or Democrats versus Republicans, right? These like values you choose to express in the world and accept, that's part of politics. That's political, right? And when we're thinking about like Marvel Snap and politics, it's not that we're going to be overrun by Biden and Trump stands or what other things. It's just that people are going to be in discursive arguments about political issues that are more than, again, who's going to win in 2024. Now, the question of who's going to win in 2024 is going to overheat these things in the United States, which will spill over into Canada and the UK. It always does, right? Like, because
I think it's key words too, Roy. Like, right. Since Glazer said all inclusive, like they're going to be like, you freaking liberal. Like, they're automatically going to think. They're going to think that no matter what, like, you don't even have to say a political thing. Or I could be black, right? And they'll be like, "Oh, you're a liberal."
Could you be?
Sure, but it's those things that certain ignorant people assume automatically, and that's the problem altogether. It's not like you're getting to know the person; you're assuming things, and then based off of how you live and how you think, you're gonna put those on that person. And I think that's gonna happen a lot next year, especially with the tension of the election and all that stuff. And then especially since like what woke is broke and all that BS, like everyone's gonna pick sides and it's not gonna be cool.
I mean, look, bluntly, we already all picked sides. Everyone here. I've spoken to all of you about this.
What the hell am I? What am I?
Oh dear, you you
still like me? Are we friends? Like, what the hell?
No,
listen,
you
listen to rap, bro. You're cool.
We talked about the whole look bluntly eggs thing, and you picked a side real hard, real fast.
Yeah, if somebody wants to be mean, I don't like.
But sir, that is political based meanness, and it's not going to suddenly stop. And it's about to become a lot louder and a lot more prevalent, and it's about to target a lot of people you like and care about. And you should probably, if you're going to be in the public-facing realm of this game, be ready for it. Because whether you want it to or not, in every game it hits sooner or later, and it already started hitting here, and it's not like one of our biggest creators ain't Hoogland. So, like, this is just gonna, like, it's gonna happen. Like, it's gonna happen.
And but I don't want to stay on this forever. I do want to add something. Do you feel like, and I tweeted it out too, I felt like I needed to say something, just, I really thought the situation needed to be addressed. But for, I'll say, smaller political things, like, say, like, I don't even know how to even say this, but like, the tax on cigarettes or something. Like, do you find your need to like reply to most political things online, or do you really think it's only the serious ones that you will reply to?
I will reply to anyone attacking anyone I care about. One of the things I try and do, and this is a genuine thing, is I'm not a white guy, but I sure as shit look like one, and people think I'm one. So that grants me an awful lot of privilege, and that grants me an awful lot of protection. So when someone comes for one of my friends, and I can stand in front of that, I always will. Always will. Yeah. Never a hesitation. And like, I'm telling you right now, I just watched it happen to eggs, and that shit is about to happen more often. And I'm going to stand in front of it every time. And should I be replying to all these randos? Nope. But if they're yelling at me, they're not yelling at them. And that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
So I win, right?
You're still only at it. All right, we'll give you a 9.
I'm just saying.
My armpits are sweaty now. I hope you're happy.
I am happy. You asked for spicy.
Shout out to Speed Stick. Shout out to Speed Stick.
Look, I'm always down for that conversation. All right, mine is ready. Marvel, my last one. Marvel Snap is dying.
Ooh.
Marvel Snap is dying
Ooh.
due to a lack of consumer confidence. It's making money hand over fist right now, but every decision they make drives off some more people, and no one, even I've been really trying to find the positive all the time with Snap because I love this game and I want it to succeed. And I think Marvel Snap is driving off their player base with bad decision after bad decision. So they gave me slight hope when they released their winter, what's it called? Like their daily login rewards.
The Winterverse
Wonder
or whatever.
Mask
The
or
Winter
Wonder
the winter one,
Yeah.
the ones for
The
that
Wonderland.
were all great, right? Those are real resources and real rewards for 12 days. And they never do that for us. The last time they did this for us, it was a joke. The current Twitch drops, I just got Pixel Craven for watching 6 hours. Like, it's just, they give us jack shit. They yank the price up on everything. They won't let us plan a budget. I think they're going to kill this game with short-sightedness. They're going to make money hand over fist in the process. And I think they're going to kill the game. I hope I'm wrong. I want to be wrong. I want them to change course. But I can feel the tone shifting whenever I talk about this, even with the most positive people, that people will be like, hey, I can't engage with this anymore. I can't do anything I want to. They're trying, they won't give me a meaningful way to engage with this. And then they make me feel bad about it by when they do give me something, giving me opinions. And it's a bad look, and it's a consistently bad look. And I really, really wish that there's no reason on earth that they shouldn't have a catch-up mechanic. There's no reason on earth that they shouldn't have login rewards every single day, not for special seasons. There's no reason on earth that they have a bajillion variants in this game. They can't just randomly throw us variants. There's no reason on earth that when they do throw us variants, it can't be the stupid pixel free ones because no one fucking wants pixels. Gouging people extra for not wanting pixels is absurd. It's just the sheer amount of shit that they do this with is completely absurd, and it's killing consumer confidence in the game. And I wish that weren't the case, but it is.
I want to add an extra layer of mustard on that.
Mhm.
I completely agree. I bet you Broad will leave within 2 years, and then that'll be the start to the end.
I don't think it's lasting that long. I think it's next year.
Yeah, and that will probably do what happened with Hearthstone. I know that we talk balance and all this stuff, but I really feel like he creates a very, very good game. That's what he did with Hearthstone, right? He basically started it and then handed it off, and then people messed it up. I feel like that is going to be 100% the thing. But yeah, that's a great take. And I'm going to add another layer of pickles. This game doesn't even get the big viewership really anyways. My friend came over and he's like, who's the biggest streamer? Let's watch him. It was Dara with 1.9. He's like, who the hell is this guy? XQC has 500,000. There's no heavy hitters. And maybe that's why we're getting gouged, is because the player base is dwindling and not very big. But, I really, shout out to everybody that content creates. I consider you all my friends. It's just I don't think we have an XQC or anything even close to. We don't even really have a Kriparian, to be perfectly.
It's just self-inflicted damage. We could have it. You just have to make people feel valued, and they don't seem to want to.
Yeah, I think with the Twitch drops, these things are good for the community. You're making people watch, but it's such a bad feeling when you open up that variant and you get a pixel. I got a pixel Adam Warlock. I will never use that card.
Beautiful.
Never.
And it's a joke. People are laughing about it, joking about it in the they want that. We're like, oh, I got a freaking pixel. They want that attitude. Or it could be, oh my god, I got, Adam Warlock, the cool one. At least there'd be a positive conversation.
Right. And they're having people gravitate towards the game. It's just that they're fumbling, they're fumbling the bag, you would say, by doing what they're doing. And then the Twitch drops are getting worse and worse. And even the Conquerors event, you gave us a Deathlock that was already released. That.
I mean, how can you still genuinely not figure out how to give us a bundle schedule and get us excited and advertise like, "Hey, great sale," right? Like all
They don't
of
need
it.
to.
Yes, they do, but they
No,
do.
well, no. Okay, from a financial standpoint,
No, okay.
how much more numbers are going to change because of that?
So it's not about like immediate number change, and they never seem to get that, right? Like you increase consumer confidence, you make people go like, if people ask about Marvel Snap, you want the people that they're talking to have to be like, oh my god, you have to play this, not like, because like people ask me if they should play Marvel Snap, like you'll really enjoy the first two series, and then like you're probably gonna have a hard time unless you want to spend a bunch of money getting caught up. You like you need that long-term consumer confidence, and it's like there's real bundles that provide real value that can help you get caught up and are super fun and like a really high value, and then like everyone speaks more positively and happily about the game, and as everyone speaks more positively and happy about the game, you can't buy that. They also don't seem to advertise shit. They advertise that the game exists, but like nothing else really, like, and just instead of just being like, well, we're going to do this new thing, let's tell Cozy and Dexter, who are just going to talk to the same community, like, figure out how to get shit out there. Like, they're bad at this. They're bad at this. I don't know what else to say. And I wish
Well, most card games are, though, right? Like,
I don't know.
It's very, very common of what they're doing, right? Like, it's not... These games are a cash grab made to suck you in and keep spending money on it, right? Like, to convince somebody to get into that is maybe easy for them to install the game, but like most people drop off, and if they make things easier for people to get all the cards and get caught up to us, so to speak, do they actually want that? Do they want people to skip the enormous Scrooge McDuck amount of money or effort or time, whatever you value more, to get to where we are?
And is it even fun grinding to get to where we're at?
If they like the game to live long term, they have no choice.
But look at Magic. How much money would it be to get into Magic, right? Or Hearthstone? Like, you guys, it's impossible.
That's not true. Magic is extraordinarily easy to get into. I did it 2 years ago.
I mean, it depends.
One deck.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Oh, paper.
Okay.
Right.
Glazer is talking about Arena, and he was a drafter. So yes, there are entry points in Magic that it is very cheap to get into. Even drafting in paper is very cheap, right? You pay $15-$20, you get a draft, right? That's pretty decent, like, value, right? For what, 3 hours or 4 hours or whatever it takes to do a draft with 3 rounds. For me, I think there's 2 points. One, it seems the model for a lot of like mobile games and that the way you make money is you make the beginning of the game very affordable and cheap and fun, and then you service the top end whales with these big expensive things, and everybody else in the middle gets kind of crunched. And so what they want is to get that initial influx of money at the beginning, and some of those people will become the people at the end, but most won't. But you'll constantly be churning through those people. And that's what I think the model that Marvel Snap has. I think actually fundamentally, though, for me, the problem with player retention in Marvel Snap isn't even really, it goes back to something I think has been a theme of this episode, which is the card acquisition model, like, itself. Like, if the card acquisition system was better, this like $100 bundle that's got Kingpin and Ghost Rider from, right? Is that what it is? Would seem like a better worth of your money, right? Like, but it's not, right? And even though someone who likes to have a reserve of tokens, like $100 for not even 2 cards worth of tokens at Series 5 cards, to be clear, is like just like not there, right? And particularly it's like random. Like, I have to wait, even if, again, I had 0 tokens, I won a Ravonna, I have to buy that bundle and then wait for her to cycle into my shop, right? Like, I think that at all levels, the card retention system that Marvel Snap created, I think just doesn't work. And then it spirals from there in every single like aspect of what Glazer's hot take was.
Yep. $100 for a card. Try to say that at a party and see how many people leave you.
Depends if it's ridiculous. Charizard.
You'll just be hanging with the vintage Magic players who are like $100 for a card. Let me tell you how much my underground seas are.
Exactly. I just think it's going to take one new good card game to come out in, Yeah, I met all you guys, so I'll still have friends and move over to the other game. But I agree with you, Pulse. You know what? I'll give it a 9. You got me.
I'll give it an 8.
I think Glazer's claiming that his hobby is going to die, so that has to be a 10, right? Like that's
Oh
just
yeah, true.
9 average. Roy and I tie for the win.
Because I really don't want the game to die.
I don't want the game to die at all. I just think, like, so I'm worried that the future of Marvel Snap, if it does live, is Marvel Future Fight, where it's just like a game only like X people, only X whales play, and no one else even bothers.
Well, breaking news: DC Dual Force is dying and being shut down in February.
Yeah, it died.
it's dead.
Oh, no, sorry, die. It
was dead
been
on
stabbed.
arrival.
It's letting it.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, the fact there's no mobile version was ridiculously stupid.
Yeah.
Pardon my French.
And they paid
Yeah.
Marvel Snap players to play it for like a week, and they quit playing it.
I think
Because
So did Parallel. We can talk about that. That's a hot take. Anyways.
you skip that as a hot take, but I think DC Dual Force seemed to me to be kind of just not a good game. Like I watched some of the guests of the show, longtime supporters of Snap Judgments, like play it, and I was like, this game's not that great. Like it suffers from
That's what I thought too.
like it suffers from like complexity creep in a way that like Marvel Snap
Artifact problem.
Yeah, Marvel. Yeah, artifact problem. Yeah, is a great example, right? Like, I think Snap is on the like low surface complexity, and then Dual Force was like high surface complexity, but also like it seemed like watching people play actually low, like once you understand the game complexity, which is like the worst place you could possibly be. With Marvel Snap, it's low surface complexity, but it's a very complex game under that surface. And that's what you want to avoid, right? So,
and you know what? It's a little similar to Hearthstone, other than the heroes and stuff, like sort of the gameplay. Hearthstone's just a better game, and to be honest, the visuals were not there for me at all. The whole board was just ugly. Like, what are they doing here? You know. That being said, if they didn't have such fire variants in Marvel Snap, like what the hell would we be looking at? To be perfectly honest,
Like pixels.
Bro never made an ugly game. Hearthstone was pretty at the beginning, and Second Dinner did a good job with making Marvel Snap look beautiful. So
I still can't believe you can't adjust the volume in game though on Snap. Doesn't that blow anybody else's mind? That
Wait,
you
can
press
adjust
escape. No, you can't. There's no volume bar, is there?
Yeah,
they put that in.
You could
There's
change the
volume in the
volume.
settings. There's volume in the settings, dude. It's been since
That
the
wasn't
beginning.
there when the PC
Yes, it was.
version first came out.
It was
I don't
always
think it was.
there.
PC. I don't know about PC. I don't pay enough.
So when I'm in the game, like playing cards, I can change the volume?
No, you
Oh
can't.
no. Between games.
That's what it was.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I
between
mean.
You
No,
can
but
do
if
it.
I'm like in a game, I should be able to. I don't know. It just blows my mind. It's
then
very
just-
small, but
all right. Well, I think we have done the Hot Ones Marvel Snap version here enough. So let's jump into positivity here, which is Variants of the Week, our final segment each and every week. All right, let's start over here on the left with this nice back shot of Ronan. Whose favorite is this?
This was mine. This is basically
And mine
like
too.
the high score Ronin at the carnival. I think it's the carnival variant too. So that's why I picked
that
it.
makes sense.
Because it's like high score. What does that mean? I'm like off the charts. That's why I picked it.
I have this one, so yeah, that was mine too. The Ryan one's pretty cool too. Is that out yet? I don't think.
Yeah,
so.
I have it.
Oh, it is. Oh,
Wait,
okay.
which one is the Ryan
It was
one?
in a bundle.
It's a chibi looking one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the Gonzalez one.
Yeah, I didn't buy that.
That one was good. I mean, I was saying this to Glazer as we were preparing the show, that Ronan actually has some of the best variants. Like, I was like, wow, these are really well done for a card that never sees play. All right, Glazer, I'm guessing it's you on the right then over here.
I don't know who made that one, but it's one of the variants that I like. I run the hip because I run hips, but I like this one better. This is one of those variants that I didn't know existed, and when I opened it, it's one of the things Marvel Snap does right, where if sometimes you'll just open a variant and be like, oh my god, did I just open that? And I opened that and I was like, whoa, that's cool. I wish I could play that card, but whoa, that's cool.
And it's not even a
So,
super rare either.
Yeah, it's just a regular. It was just a regular open. Like I didn't buy it; it just popped up. I'm figuring out who the art is. You can talk about hip while I figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, the hip one is just really good. It's a hip one. It's plays both his style, but also is like clearly captures the character really well. So it's nice in the upper tier of hippo variants. So.
Oh, I have to learn where to look for Ronan now when I'm scrolling through my fives. That's interesting. I was like, what the... Okay. Mine is by John Boy Myers. I have no idea who that is.
I have no idea who that is. But
it also looks really great animated, just for the record.
Okay. All
is
right.
Ronan in the MCU, or am I crazy?
Yeah, Ronan was the villain in the first Guardians movie.
Mm-hmm.
And he was in Captain Marvel. He was in chronologically, he was in the Captain Marvel movie and then in the Guardians movie. But actual release order, Guardians then.
Yeah, you don't remember when Star-Lord was dance battling him?
Dance battle, yeah.
I don't remember.
He was playing by Lee Pace, the guy from Foundation and that pie making show from the early 2000s. What was it called?
Yes.
Pushing Daisies. Boom, got there. All right, so
I've never seen that.
What If tonight, though, I believe, right? Right, Goose? Is it What If, though, tonight?
It's tomorrow.
I didn't know that.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
Robo, why don't you tell our loyal listeners and loyal viewers if they, after listening to you on the show, wanted to go and follow you, what would they find in your content?
Well, I'm pretty active on Twitter. I do a poll every day, and I make the memes at Lil Robitussin1, and I'm also that on Twitter or Twitch. And Twitch, we have fun basically every day. You'll see Prashaun come over. We just have fun. I'm not a competitive player really. I play Howard the Duck a lot. We're leveling it up. It's great. I just have fun. So if you like to have fun and you like to chill and you like rap music or really any music at all, I do want to shout out my Lazy Sunday. Those are usually people's favorites. Very calm music. There's no hip hop that day, but if you're hungover or just need a nice relaxing thing, Sunday at the Tussinverse is probably where you want to be. So I hope to see y'all soon.
All right, my turn for Tussin. So Tussin is the stream I hang out in most. I basically flip between Prashaun and Tussin most nights. As I'm either right before or right after making the video, I hang out on their stream. I'm on that stream all the time because I love it. I have a blast. We talk all sorts of crazy shit. We fight about things. We laugh about things. It's a giant hangout. It's a complete blast. It's just if you would just it's a lot of the world has changed, right? And a lot of social experiences have changed. If you want the feeling life gets hard, life gets busy. If you want the feeling of just hanging out and having a good time, this is the perfect stream for you. And let me just tell you, nothing would make him happier than if you went onto his stream and were just like, hey, here's my political opinions. So you got to do that too. So make sure
on Howard the Duck only on Howard the Duck related.
Make sure that you tell him about the tax on tobacco in specific. I feel like that's a really interesting topic for him. And I will see you there and we can debate it and make him happy.
All right.
That was very kind. Thank you. You're my homie.
Always.
All right, Prashaun. If our loyal listeners and loyal viewers would want to check you out, what would they find on your Twitch or your YouTube, my friend?
I'm pretty decent at Snap. I'm pretty good. I'm trying to get better. I need to go for rank 69. That way I can take it from KM. So that's my goal. But overall, it's dads having fun. Dads who play snaps. That's the group, pretty much.
Wait, does that make us Robo's dad?
Only when I beat him.
So
I'm adopted.
He's
so
adopted.
Nobody's my dad.
He's like the uncle. Yeah. He's like the uncle.
We don't know. Actually, Prashaun could be my dad. Who knows?
What? We're the same age. Ish.
I don't know. Time travel, multiverses. I don't fucking know.
True.
No one's watched this. I want to talk about whatever. That's a different podcast. I want to talk about the Doctor Who specials. They were really good, and I don't know anyone who watched them. So I've talked about it with my wife, but they were really fucking good. As soon as I said time travel, they were so good. All right, my bad. You should follow Prashaun. Prashaun is a fantastic Marvel Snap player, but the worst Marvel Snap coach in the world.
Oh yeah,
unbelievably bad as a coach. I was trying to hit Infinite. I was like, Prashaun, coach me. I'll do whatever you say. And Prashaun kept not looking at the board. And being like, oh, yeah, you just play that there. So, and it's just that I'd be like, all right, I'm just doing what you say. And negative AQs.
There's a chat there. So you have to be engaging with the chat. I think that's one thing about my streams is every single person who chats, I probably reply to everyone and I talk to everyone. So I think that's why people chill. And then actually...
And that's why I lost ranks that night.
But you're infinite now. That's all that matters.
I climbed from 89 to 97. fine.
Yeah.
Once I stopped listening to it, it was fine.
Yeah. We're just having fun. We're
No,
chilling.
it was a great time. He's so Prashaun is actually fantastic at Snap. You can tell when he plays competitively because he plays competitively only against Robo on stream. Robo's like, here's my meme. Robo's like, here's my meme deck, and Prashaun's like, here's the tier 1 deck that I stole from Lambie. Let's play.
Season first game. How you doing, buddy?
Well, what did I do? I played Leech and Alliance. I'm sorry.
All right, so that's what happens. But he is also going to reply to every single person in the chat and make misplays when he does.
Yeah, for sure. I do that all the time. And sometimes I still win. I don't know how, but I still win.
It's a blast. Like, come hang out with us. I promise you will be hanging out with us if you come there, and you will have a good time. So if you enjoyed this podcast, like, come do it live because we're there.
But YouTube is completely different because I edit.
Oh, right, YouTube. Oh, yeah.
And I put my wins. So
sorry. I just put my wins. So I guess I should talk about his YouTube. He does really good deck guide videos. It's just like top-notch play. It's like him actually focusing and not just like bullshitting, which is, in fairness, the stream is all of us bullshitting.
Right? Oh yeah, for sure.
That's what makes it so fun. But the YouTube is a really, really strong YouTube. It's just good play, good, like, someone asked me the other day, like, where you go, what YouTube you go to learn about like how to act, like, watch gameplay, and you're one of the tops of that. So that's very cool.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, if our loyal listeners and loyal viewers need a quick reminder of where to find us in the various social medias, we are at Snap Judge Cast on X/Twitter. We are, again, extremely grateful and happy to be the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone, which means you should join their Discord where you can engage with us. The link is in the description of this episode below if it's a YouTube video, or in the description of the episode if it is a podcast that you're listening to. Our email is snapjudgmentspodcast@gmail.com, and our YouTube is at Snap Judgments Pod, where you can get daily Snap takes from Glazer. If you have some time this holiday season, take a few minutes, give us a 5-star review somewhere, and we would greatly appreciate it. All right, first things first, I'm going to say a goodbye to our awesome returning guests who are now in the on Snap Judgments twice team, which we're always happy to have up there with Lambie and Yeti and all of our other awesome returning friends. So, Prashaun, thank you so much for joining us today, and happy holidays. All right, Robitussin, thanks again for joining us today, and happy holidays.
Thank you. Happy holidays to you, your families, and everybody listening. This was a blast. I always have fun, so thank you for having me, and I'll talk to both you guys soon. Thank you.
Awesome. Before I sign Glazer and I off, I've got 2 quick things that I want to say. First and foremost, this is my last episode of 2023. I will not be on next week, so I do want to wish our loyal listeners a Happy New Year, and if you celebrate, a very Merry Christmas. But Glazer and I am cooking up a cool holiday content that will go on the YouTube in the new year, which I think is going to be a fun thing that people will be.
Patreon.
Oh, it's for the Patreon. Okay,
so on the Patreon.
Oh, I'm extra
Paywall.
Special cooking paywall. So that's a fun new 2024 thing for Snap Judgments. But on a more serious note, I do want to say out there, I do know for many folks, this time of year is a really difficult one. And I just want to wish, again, everybody who is listening to this a very happy holidays, and know that you stay safe and take care of yourself out there. It is a lonely time, but hopefully this episode has brought you some joy, and to know that there are people out there that do care about you, and that whatever's going on right now will one day pass, and this season will be over before you know it. So please, our loyal listeners and loyal viewers, please out there, stay safe in this holiday season, whether you are getting the holiday joy or holiday sorrow. Know that we here at Snap Judgments wish you a very, very happy New Year and happy holidays. So on that note, Aaron, my friend, it was wonderful as always to have you on the show and to do the show with you each and every week, except for next week.
Peace and love, everybody.
All right,
Stay tuned next week for no Roy, but yes, Lambie.
So strict upgrade, friends. All right. So loyal listeners, loyal viewers, please, please, please stay safe out there. Come back next week and every week after that, and keep on snapping.